And there is the pace car. It's starting to roll off of pit road. Leading the field as the official pace car. That's the 2020 Toyota Camry TRD. And following right behind that pace car, let's hear from tonight's starting grid, brought to you by South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa. Let's hear from the drivers.
Kevin Harvick, Bakersfield, California.
Kyle Busch, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Chase Elliott, Dawsonville, Georgia.
Eric Almirola, Tampa, Florida.
Joey Logano, Middletown, Connecticut.
Clint Boyer, Emporia, Kansas.
Austin Dillon, Welcome, North Carolina.
Alex Bowman, Tucson, Arizona.
Kurt Busch, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Denny Hamlin, Chesterfield, Virginia.
Martin Truex Jr., Mayetta, New Jersey.
Brad Keselowski, Rochester Hills, Michigan.
And we will see row 7 all the way back. Continue on the left side of your screen. We want to chat with Kevin Harvick, who starts up front. Jeff, can you dial him up on the radio?
Hey, Kevin, NBC booth, you got us?
10-4.
Well, buddy, we're in Vegas, and you have been on a heater lately. Can you keep that up tonight?
Well, I hope our Mobile 1-4 Mustang is as good as we were last week. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, this is going to be a challenging night with the heat, the darkness, multiple groove racetracks. So our guys are, doing a great job this year. We'll do what we have to do and see where it falls in the end.
Kevin, you mentioned the heat. How does that change this racetrack and what you guys had to do to prepare for this racetrack compared to what you did here in the spring?
Well, I think you just got to be prepared for the car to slide around. I think as you look at the, the downforce and the way that things go when the air gets light like it is out here, it's obviously going to be slick to begin with. But as you see in turn 1 here, being a month later than what we did last year, the shadows are already creeping down over the wall, and half of this corner is already in shade. So, I think the shade and darkness will come a little bit sooner than what it did last year.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you taking some time for us. Hope you have a good time tonight.
All right, guys. Thank you.
We're going to ride along with a few drivers, and obviously we'll be riding along with Kevin.
Well, best seat in the house. The guy starting at the front of the field, Kevin Harvick. He'll have the Hunt Brothers Pizza camera.
Joe Logano is going to have the Coca-Cola camera. Got a roof cam there and also interior reverse driver camera.
Joey's teammate, Brad Keselowski, is going to carry the Ford Performance onboard camera.
South Bend, Indiana's Ryan Newman has the Guaranteed Rate camera. He has the 360 in that car.
Well, Steve, you mentioned Brad and teammate. What about our teammate? Brad Doherty is actually on site in Las Vegas. What are you looking forward to, Big Brad?
Hey, guys, the one thing we didn't talk about at all in the pre-race show is the actual racetrack. This is going to be incredible, just what Kevin was talking about. As it starts to cool off just a little bit, this track has a ton of grip. We'll see 3 wide, 4 wide on some of those restarts. That means pit road. You can't make any mistakes. Everybody's going to want 4 of those Goodyear Eagles when they come down. They're going to have to be on their marks when they go into pit road. No mistakes.
Man, Brad's got a pretty good seat there, too.
Man.
That's a nice spot.
Let's get it on.
He's going to be able to enjoy that one. All right, so he mentioned the track. Steve, let's break down this race, the numbers.
Las Vegas Motor Speedway, a 1.5 mile racetrack. You heard Kevin Harvick talk about turn 1 with the bumps. While it looks the same from turns 1 and 2 to 3 and 4, they are not the same. 18 to 20 degrees of banking, a little more banking as you climb up near the wall, higher in the corners. We'll see that, I think, in turn 1 first. We see higher normally there. 267 laps, 80 laps for stage 1. The same for stage 2. 107 laps in that final stage. Fuel window around 60 laps, so a pit stop required in each and every stage. And this is the start of the second round. The reason I bring this up is because we're going to talk about this all night, Rick. Las Vegas is a 1.5 miles. It's pretty straightforward. Talladega and Roval, anything but. That makes this 1.5 miles anything but straightforward. Every competitor says that other than Phoenix, where the championship will be handed out, will be crowned, this could be the most important race in the playoffs.
Yeah, most people, except for the guy sitting over here with me, think Talladega's a tough race. That guy seems to be pretty easy for him, but it's so easy to get in a wreck there.
Yeah, if I was a playoff guy, I'd still be very, very nervous about it. This is a fun track. You can move around, run all over the place, but the next two are going to be a lot of work for these guys.
Best way to get rid of that work, get rid of that nerve, win, Rick.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's that easy. Just win, Rick. Just all you got to do.
All right, before the green flag flies, Austin Dillon, he's really been one of the biggest stories already of these playoffs. Isn't that right, Dave?
That's true, Rick, and it's the round of 16 that was so good for him. A second, a fourth, and a 12th got him through the round, but that reset you guys talked about, the start of the next round, he's on the cut line. 0 points above, 0 points below. He needs to make something happen starting here, Marty, if he's going to make the round of 12 as good as the first round was.
Boy, Dave, we showed the schedule here for the round of 12, and it terrifies most every driver in the field, except maybe Clint Boyer and his crew chief, Johnny Klossmeyer. He said, we're definitely going to be good at 2 of the 3 races. That's next week at Talladega and the Roval. He said, this is the race I'm worried about. If we can get through tonight, I feel good about the next 2, kind of the opposite of everybody else in the field, Kelly.
Well, Alex Bowman and the 88 team seem to have gotten their mojo back just in time for the start of the playoffs. In fact, crew chief Greg Ives pointed to the doubleheader at Dover as kind of the turning point. He said after a 5th place finish there in race 2, Alex got out of the car and said, we are back. And they've been successful at a couple of tracks since then that they don't typically run well at. So after a frustrating stretch through the middle part of this season, they feel like they're back to where they were pre-COVID break, and they're ready to make a run in these playoffs.
That's what they need to do. We know that one guy who has had success already at this racetrack this year is Joey Logano. They won here in the spring. Let's hear what Joey Logano, Paul Wolfe, and their pep talk is before the green flag.
Yeah, boys, second round. Paul said a good job. Everything we need to do the first round, we'll continue that. Keep the momentum up, the speed in our car going, keep our speed and our pit stops up, clicking off as many points as possible, put ourselves in a good spot again.
Put ourselves in a good spot again. And Steve, there's a comp caution that we've got to deal with as well in this first stage.
Yeah, NASCAR's been very consistent. No practice, no qualifying, so they're going to provide a caution to the competitors. It's going to be on or around lap 25. Give these guys all a chance to pit if they choose. You don't have to. When you come to pit road, put some tires on and make some adjustments.
All right, the field now in the hands of Kevin Harvick. In the 4, he's on the inside line, just to his outside in the number 18. Kyle Busch from Las Vegas. Round 2 of the playoffs is underway. Big push from Chase Elliott has Harvick easily out front. That inside line working well now.
3 wide, a little bit further behind. Alex Bowman got real aggressive. Put Clint Boyer on the outside of 3 wide.
Now this looks more like Talladega and Daytona than a mile and a half, as that inside line really stayed organized, made a lot of ground, and even moved Harvick up out of the lead there. Harvick and Kyle Busch trying to recover, teamed up together around this 3 car of Austin Dillon.
We talk about multiple grooves here on this racetrack. Bumpy in 1 and 2. The bumps are down low though, right guys?
Yeah, there's some bumps right against the bottom groove. Try to go around them. Middle of the racetrack, the 3rd groove up against the wall.
Something will happen to these racetracks also is sometimes bumps develop. You drive into the corner for the first time and there's a bump that's never been there before. Well, now you don't get to do that in practice. That could happen tonight, and that messed your entire setup completely up because of how it rides over the bumps.
There goes Kurt Busch, also a Las Vegas native. And in that 1, Monster Energy number 1 car on the outside of the 3, Austin Dillon.
Yeah, if you go down into turn 1 and the car's not great across the bumps, there's not a lot of confidence in the fact of fixing that during this race. That's something you'll work on throughout practice and hardly ever fix.
Joey Logano was following Chase Elliott, just kind of on the bottom. That time he looked on the outside, see 18 car. Kyle Busch jumping on the outside of Kevin Harvick.
Busch brothers are lined up just outside of the 4. Kyle Busch in front of brother Kurt Busch. Kevin Harvick on the inside, riding along with him.
See, Kevin gets right to that left rear quarter panel, tries to pull that 18 back. Harvick out of the gas right there.
Here you just lift it ever so slightly on that inside. You lose a little bit of side force with that car on the outside of you.
And watch Kevin try. Is he going to block? Didn't actually have to block Kurt. I thought he would have to block him, but he ended up not having to.
Big point of conversation this weekend, Rick, wasn't just the heat. Goodyear has brought a new right side tire. Why that may seem kind of inside baseball, a tire change could change everything about a racetrack, your entire setup. So I just think there are a lot of question marks. I'm sure these drivers and crews will figure it out. The question is, who kind of guessed right coming and who can adjust quick enough if they were wrong with their initial thoughts?
Well, Steve, they were on the racetrack in the spring before the COVID pandemic hit, and so it is different from that tire. And so that notebook that they had, do they throw it away, or are there still things that they got from that first race?
Austin Dillon on the outside of this 19 car, Martin Truex Jr. showing a little muscle. Austin's been pretty dang impressive in these playoffs. Wondering if it can continue into this new round.
Yeah, it's been impressive for sure. Rick, to answer your question, you go to the index and you decide what pages are going to transfer, right? What do you know? What did you learn in the spring? Maybe other mile-and-a-half tracks. So much later in the year. Junior, what'd you say at the beginning? It felt like a decade ago, right? All the way back at the beginning of the year. Just feels so long ago.
Yeah. And guys, we saw the 3-car of Austin Dillon making that move around Martin Truex Jr. And now Martin Truex is trying to come back on the inside. But Brandon Benesch, the spotter for Austin Dillon, said he really liked what he was doing, getting that car right down on the quarter panel to make that pass. How does that aerodynamics work, Junior, as you try to pass cars at Vegas?
Yeah, it's pretty challenging. Yeah, pretty challenging.
That side drafting, that's what they're working on here? They do that on the mile-and-a-half, Junior?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, to a point. I think early in the race you don't want to be too aggressive with guys because they don't often like when you're trying to side draft on 5 laps into the race. But just like the restarts, all this stuff's going to get more and more intense as the race goes on. Let's look at some issues well, not some issues, but some work the 11 car is trying to do around the high side of turns 1 and 2 here. Jumps to the outside of Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy struggling a little bit with the grip of the back of that car. FedEx office number 11 Chevrolet or Toyota goes to the top. Already using that 3rd groove. Wondering how much those guys, look at the run he's got off the top there again, trying to get the outside of Blaney here. I like that opportunity to get to that top groove and use it because of the clean air up there. Nobody's up there yet, and you can see him using that clean air on the nose, getting those runs, making passes here.
Look at that move. Man, the thing is like 10 miles an hour faster.
Yeah, he looks really good. Marty, what do you have on Denny?
I was going to say, Jeff, he's taking a page from Junior's book, going to the high line here, 10 laps into the race. But you heard Denny in the pre-race say, yes, this is our toughest playoff racetrack. But it's turns 1 and 2. That's where he went to the high line around Jimmy Johnson. That's where I struggle the most. He said, I have not been able to figure out the bumps through there. So Junior, talk about how difficult 1 and 2 here at Vegas is. We talk about these bumps. For Denny, it's harder in 1 and 2, more difficult to navigate.
Yeah, they're just really, really big is the problem. You watch this car right here bounce through those bumps, and if the splitter is anywhere near the ground or on the ground, you're not going to have any grip. When that splitter hits the ground, it's going to take all the grip out of the car, or you know, if your car's way too high, you're just never going to have any front aero off the wall. But get through those bumps. We always show up at this racetrack in that first practice, and that's the biggest concern of any driver, and it's going to be the biggest concern of these guys going into the turn for the first time, is will that car go through those bumps? If not, you're going to have to drive around them all night long.
A bumpy 1 and 2 hasn't been a problem for Chase Elliott after he pushed Kevin Harvick on the start of the race, pushed him out of the way, and he's taken over. He's been up front all 11 laps so far here at Vegas. NASCAR Drive, it's your live race day companion. You can follow your favorite drivers with the high-definition in-car cameras. Just visit NASCAR.com/drive, or you can download the mobile app today. And right now, the only driver that is a non-playoff driver inside of the top 10, even top 11, is Ryan Blaney, Dave.
Started 15th, Rick, and making his way forward. Just a slight complaint about the car being a little bit tight on exit. But remember, now it's all about winning races for Ryan Blaney. Eliminated last week at Bristol. Finishes of 24th, 19th, and 13th, plus that 10-point penalty in the first round put them out of commission as far as the championship goes. But operating very well today and trying to get a win before the season's over, Kelly.
His teammate Brad Keselowski, on the other hand, hasn't really been able to make much progress here in these opening laps after starting 12th. He's sitting there in 13th. We listen in on the radio to find out why.
I got the splitter really hard, turn one. That's my biggest complaint right now. I'm struggling on 1 and 2 over the bumps, a little free everywhere else. Over the bumps, I drag and I'm losing those.
So everyone talks about the bumps. Another key they told me for tonight was really being able to work on the car to keep up with the track, because this track is going to make a big swing from daytime as we get into night, Marty.
Some outstanding racing for a moment ago. Brad Keselowski was 3 wide there as he tries to go under Matt DiBenedetto there into turn 1. Everybody in the field saying they're loose, and right here where those 2 cars are, you certainly feel it. Look at the wind here at Las Vegas. Right now about 15 miles an hour, but Steve, later in the race, they're predicting it to be 25 miles an hour at the end of this race. When you're loose and that wind is blowing from turn 4 to turn 2, your driver's going to complain a lot tonight.
Yeah, the biggest struggle with the wind is that it's going to make the 2 ends even more different, right? When you go down into turn 1, right here where these 2 Penske cars are, you know, it's a tailwind. It's going to make it loose in for Brad. It's going to take some downforce off the car. Now there's 2 cars turning into the wind, have a little headwind down the backstretch. That's going to help Brad Keselowski turn into turn 3 even better. So I would think that as long as it stays consistent all night, you can make an adjustment, but it definitely doesn't make anything easier.
Yeah, it is amazing how different that feels and how much better that wind blowing onto the right side of the car makes the car drive. It's amazing. Then you get to turn 1 and it's horrible, and it's hard to get in your head that the wind can be impacting that, and that makes it difficult, Steve, because you can't fix both. There's no way to fix both.
And didn't you add in what Kevin Harvick told us on the pace laps, the shade? One end of the track being in the shade, adding grip. This end of the track, 3 and 4, being in the sun for at least the first half of the race.
So Junior, we see Ryan Blaney making a run here on his teammate Logano. I think that Ryan Blaney will have a shot to win this race tonight. He ran so well here in the spring, but it is difficult racing against people in the playoffs. It really is. When it gets strung out like this, Junior, it's really not that big of a deal, right? You race everybody, you know, it's not that hard to be clean in this situation. But on restarts, he's going to be in the middle of people in the playoffs all night long. And that is a difficult situation to be in. We'll see how he navigates that through the night.
Yeah, it's a tough situation, especially when you got teammates that are going to be those guys. You're not trying to ruin their night. If you happen to ruin somebody else's night, I guess your teammates will be happy about that.
If you're going to ruin someone's night, just make sure it's not a teammate.
Well, if you look out the rear bumper of Joey Logano, you see Blaney, but over the shoulder of Ryan Blaney, that 11 FedEx car, you pointed it out. He had good speed earlier, Junior, and I asked the question at the start of the broadcast, could Denny Hamlin, the 6-time winner in 2020, improve over his first round? No top 10s in the first round. We even heard him at the beginning talk about how this was not his favorite racetrack. He struggled with this end of the racetrack, turns 1 and 2. Well, he has to be happy with what he's felt so far. This car is all the way up to the 6th position.
Yeah, I like the idea of him moving around, trying different lines.
You talked about, Steve, how he hasn't had success lately. Well, the last time Hamlin finished out of the top 10 in 3 straight races, you know what happened?
Yeah, oh yeah, he won. That's why I put him in my fantasy team. I had that same stat. Marty.
That was good, Steve. Why didn't you text me that information before? I should have thought about it. Competition caution out lap 25, guys.
There's the caution. We were expecting that. Denny Hamlin's best finish at this racetrack, 3rd. So looking to improve on that and, again, get back on that momentum train that he had been riding throughout the season.
I didn't hear you predict. I was waiting for you to tell me he was going to improve on that or not. the over-under on his third place.
He just doesn't like this track because he hasn't won here yet. If he wins tonight, he's going to be in love with it.
I was going to say, do you want me to show you my fantasy lineup? I have him winning.
No. We'll compare it.
All right. Or I might take him out of the garage. But I've still got plenty of time before we do that, before the end of stage 2. So at the competition caution, Steve, you mentioned a new right side tire. Are we going to see guys come down? They want to check to see the wear, make sure all the travels are right on their cars?
Yeah, this is a track that I don't think you are concerned about the wear as far as a failure. You're not going to wear through. It's more of when you get the information from Goodyear about a tire, there's a lot of, I call it guesstimation. How much camber, how much air pressure, what kind of settings do you need to have? Some of that can be adjusted on a pit stop. Not everything, but if you guessed wrong and your car's not handling one way or the other, this is your first chance to make adjustments. The other thing is Kevin Harvick talked about the shade coming. I know it looks like it's bright sunshine, but you see the shadows becoming long on the front of those cars down the backstretch. That sun out west, it's going to drop quick, and when it does, this track will change quickly as well.
Cars lining up, getting ready to come onto pit road.
So you asked about changing tires. So the pace had fallen off about 1.5 seconds. That's a lot of fall off. So that probably means people are going to come on pit road.
I think everybody will, and that's my concern. 32 cars on the lead lap. It's easy to run into one another, and if you have a pit road mistake here, a lot of positions to lose.
45 miles per hour pit road speed. Don't want to make any mistakes. Dave.
Leader Chase Elliott definitely wants 4 Goodyear tires and a fill of Sunoco fuel. The car was a little bit swingy free at one end of the track. They discussed making a track bar adjustment. Alan Gustafson said, well, let's go ahead and do it now. We'll find out if it works. Make adjustments early, Marty. You know, for later in the race.
Kyle Busch hits pit road, Dave, running second. He said it's very loose. He said he has to baby it at the 30% mark of the corner. Talking about the throttle, they're going to try and tighten up the 18 car. Everybody in the field loose except for maybe Kevin Harvick. Says he's hitting the splitter very hard on the racetrack. In fact, Rodney Childers wanted to take air pressure out of the right front tire. He said, no, the splitter is going to wear off if we do that. So Harvick, too tight. Kyle Busch's crew delivers for him. They gain a spot here on pit road, Rick.
Yeah, vital. Kyle Busch, an impressive race off of pit road. Las Vegas, known for its shows. Well, restart about to happen here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and that is always a great show. We'll be right back for it. Cars getting ready to line back up for the restart. NASCAR Cup Series playoffs from Las Vegas, South Points 400. Well, You know, from the start of the playoffs, we've been showcasing the 16 playoff drivers and their quest to win the NASCAR Cup. As we head toward the championship week in Phoenix, we also are going to be celebrating 16 pit crew all-stars and their very special stories and talents. For one of those, Marty Snider's on pit road.
Well, Rick, Ruben Kaufman is one of the great stories in the garage area. Ruben is the underneath mechanic for Alex Bowman, and he actually grew up in Amish country in Wisconsin. He fell in love with the racing by listening to racing on a radio. His parents did not know that he had. And at 17, he decided to leave Amish country. He came to North Carolina, moved in with a cousin who happened to be working on a race team. An interesting twist to Ruben's story is that he was a fabricator making furniture in Amish country. So when he moved to North Carolina and started working in racing, those fabrication skills worked out very nicely. Now he's an underneath mechanic, doesn't get to fabricate quite as much, but he told me, I told Greg Ives early this year, I want any job that's going to keep me on the road. So he moved from fabrication to an underneath mechanic. He is certainly one of the terrific stories and one of the many pit crew all-stars we've had so far in 2020, Rick.
Thank you, Marty. We're going to continue to showcase the pit crew all-stars between now and championship week in Phoenix and continue telling those special stories. Today in the pre-race show, we talked about Rafael Diaz, the rear tire changer for the 6 team, and then of course a great story there on Ruben Kaufman. Getting ready for the restart, Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch making up row 1. We'll see if that track position Kyle Busch got off of pit road is going to help him. 3 wide. Joey Logano goes to block all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack. Martin Truex Jr. loses momentum.
Look at those cars on the bottom, the 22 pushing the 11. Will that be enough to clear the 18 car? It is.
Denny Hamlin out front. Kyle Busch running second. Here comes Logano. Can he keep the momentum up on the low side? Kevin Harvick in the 4. They're side by side for third.
Logano right now is desperately looking for, oh, here comes Chase Elliott. Big block by Logano. What's Chase going to do about it?
He's in the back of him, man. Shoving him down in the corner. He was not, that was frustration right there. He knew chasing him down in the corner like that, he was going to lose the nose of his car. Lose the spot to Truex, but he did it anyways.
Remember Kyle Busch last week said Joey Logano didn't have any friends. Joey said, yep, that's right. I don't have any friends on a racetrack. Guess what? They're not supposed to be friends. We're competitors.
Yeah, he said it's a business relationship. This is a business relationship. I'm on the racetrack to win, just like everybody else is.
Strong move right there by Joey Logano, that 22 car. Got a good run off turn 2, stayed real low down the back straightaway to stay completely away from Kyle Busch.
Joey blocking that 18, trying to get the push off of the nose of that car. Sends him down into turn 1, goes around the bumps, trying to make some momentum here on this 11 down the back straightaway. Chase Elliott underneath the 4 car here, down into turn 3. Chases past Truex, trying to make another pass on Harvick. Harvick's going to try to hold him tight, stay on that quarter panel. Almost contact right there.
It's fun to see how aggressive these guys are driving. A lap 35 of a 267 lap race. Shows you how important track position is. They don't want to give it up. Harvick having to get way out of the gas.
Trouble over those bumps right there. You saw the sparks, the car bottoming out.
Well, we heard that he was hitting the splitter really hard on that first run. So that hitting that splitter can really aggravate the car as it goes through those bumps.
Martin Truex Jr. venturing up into that high line.
He's just trying to get out of the wake of these 2 cars here.
While watching this race right here, the 8 of Tyler Reddick came to pit road with an issue. Sounds like he has a loose right rear wheel.
Learned 12, Steve, having a good night.
Yeah, he was, but that mistakes, you guys talked about it. Brad Doherty talked about it. You know, it's easy to say, but man, mistakes, you just talked about how important track position is. Here he is, giving it all up. Comes to pit road for right side tires, complaining about a loose wheel. We'll see if he changes 2 or 4. Looks like 2 tires for the 8 car. Another driver that gave up track position on that first round of pit stop was Brad Keselowski. He was running 13th before the pit stop, much like the 4 of Kevin Harvick, was complaining about hitting that front splitter. Well, a 22nd pit stop to add Packer has now put Brad Keselowski back at 22nd. Kelly, has it remedied the issue on this 2-car?
Well, I can't say that it has because, as you said, running 22nd right now, and you mentioned that lengthy pit stop, making both the Packer adjustment and they took a round out just to try to get the nose up off the ground. They said it was just riding way too low. Jeremy Bowens, the crew chief, acknowledged that in the spring this really wasn't their best track, but he said it was our first mile-and-a-half track together. My question for you, Steve, is these are just some of the things that typically they would have worked through in practice, right? And when you don't have that, it can really set you back if you're that far off to start one of these races.
Absolutely, Kelly. Something that you would work through in practice would be the height of that front splitter. You referenced a Packer. It's basically just a shim that goes on the shock where the bump stop is. It raises the car up. It doesn't let it travel as far. Kelly, I have to also think about the change in the right side tire. Jeff, I know we think about tires as far as grip and how much traction they have, but they also can squish more. And if they squish more, the car gets lower, and next thing you know, you're hitting the ground.
Yeah, it is amazing when you change a right side tire, how that can affect things. Right ahead of Brad Keselowski, another one of the playoff drivers, Eric Almirola. He's all the way back in 19th in that 10 car right there. We've seen really good speed from Eric Almirola, but so far today, he has not been very good, complaining about being really tight. Not the speed we expected to see from that 10 car so far.
Yeah, the trouble with all this, if they don't improve the 2 car or the 10 car, the top 9 are playoff guys, and if they stay there, they're going to get those points at the end of stage 1 and throughout the rest of the race. So these guys need to rebound quickly.
I do think, though, if you are an Eric Almirola fan or a Brad Keselowski fan, don't give up. This track is going to change a ton. And some of these teams have come here with packages that don't make as much downforce as some others, waiting for the track to cool down. So a guy that's running really, really well right now may not be as good when the track cools down, and vice versa.
You think this is going to be interesting here when the 18 gets to the back bumper of the 22 after the comment like you referenced earlier, Jeff, that he doesn't have any friends. He made it very difficult for him at Bristol last week. Well, what does Kyle Busch do when he gets to the back bumper of Joey Logano? How aggressive is he when he tries to get around him?
Especially if Joey blocks him.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
If.
Marty.
Well, Rick, another comment in that post-race media session was, we're not going to advance out of this round. I asked Adam Stevens this morning, I said, how did the team take that? How did you take that? He said, well, honestly, I didn't bring it up to Kyle this week at all. Other people did. The other people would be Joe Gibbs, who did not like those comments very much. But he said, you know what? Adam said, I know Kyle, and I know after the race, you're not going to get good comments out of him. And I know his focus is in the right spot. So I didn't take much from those comments. I know that when we showed up here at Vegas today, he was going to be in the right mindset, and we can build cushion, just like we did in round 1 here in round 2. So he said, I didn't let those comments bother me at all. So Steve, if your crew chief made comments like that after the race, how would you treat it as a coach of the race team?
I would definitely not have been that calm. Adam Stevens is a better man than me. I would have definitely said something, even if it didn't bother me, Rick. Joe Gibbs Racing is a huge organization of men and women that work very hard. And I would ask my driver, hey, it didn't bother me, buddy, but you need to address the men and women that build your race cars, because it may have bothered one of them.
Well, we talked about earlier if Denny Hamlin would be distracted from the announcement. He's running up front, doesn't look too distracted now.
grab an ice cold Coke while you cheer on your favorite member of the Coca-Cola racing family. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
All smiles for Joey Logano right now, running in the second spot, but it might not be. He might not have a lot of fans with some of the drivers that are out there right now. As we take a look at tonight's Xfinity fastest lap, Logano's on this list. His 32nd lap was third fastest so far. Truex Jr., Kurt Busch, Logano, Harvick, and Kyle Busch all putting together laps over 175 miles per hour average. But Logano, even at the start of this race, has been blocking already.
Yeah, this reminds me of the race we saw here last year where Logano was really good when the sun was up. Cars got a lot of downforce in it for this type of racetrack when it's hot and slick, but when the sun went down, he lost all that speed, and the 19 car of Truex ended up going up there and dominating when the track trimmed out. Here's the blocking of the 9 car and the 22 and the 9 car. Talked about how the 9 drove down in the corner and shoved him into the corner out of frustration, and we got some radio conversation about that. Dave?
Right, you will hear Chase's reaction and then a little comment from crew chief Alan Gustafson.
Make sure that nose is okay from up there.
Yeah, we'll do it. He needs to get sent here sooner or later.
Yes, another Friends of Joey phrase there from the 9 bunch. And one thing to clean up on that pit stop, you saw Chase go from leading to 6th place on that pit stop. Might have been slow on one corner, but also Gustafson asked him to get a little bit closer, by about a foot to the wall next time, to help the crew out. Kelly?
Well, we talk about those comments from Kyle Busch that he said Joey Logano just doesn't have any friends. We asked Joey about it earlier this week, and he said, that's just not true. I have plenty of friends, but I just don't have friends on the racetrack. He said, I feel like a friend is someone who's there to help you in your low times and celebrate your victories. As a competitor, I'm just not that guy. I'm not a good friend to my competitors. So he's clearly not trying to make any friends on the racetrack. He's comfortable. He knows he's got a lot of friends away from it. So he wasn't bothered at all by Kyle Busch's comments.
And so I got a question for you, Steve, and I got a question for you, Junior. If you were the crew chief, Steve, would you want Joey Logano as your driver? And Junior, would you want him, if you owned his car, would you want him as a driver? Because I 100% would. I love the fact that he's selfish. I love the fact that he gets it all he can every single lap. And I don't think he's a dirty driver. I think he's an aggressive driver, but man, that's what I want from my guy.
And not only would I love to have him as my driver, as a broadcast, Junior, I'm glad he's out there. It gives us stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I enjoy him as a broadcaster. I don't know if he'd be at the top of my list, but he certainly, I mean, I wouldn't be too upset about having him as a driver because he's a winner.
A champion. One of the 6 champions right now that are running for another title here in 2020. And he's running second to Denny Hamlin, who's pulled away almost to a 1-second lead. And then between Logano and Kyle Busch, another about 1.7 seconds separating those two, and then another half a second back to Chase Elliott. So really starting to spread out here. And Steve, are we seeing foreshadowing as to who's going to be really good toward the end of this race, or do you think that everything's going to change when the sun goes down?
I think everything is going to change. There's a lot of conversation about, when the track changes, does that affect a low downforce setup or high downforce setup? And I think what happens is you come here and these guys are wide open all the way around here on brand new tires. And everyone gets to a point where they have to get to the gas at a different time. If you have a ton of downforce, you can run wide open a long time, but you're pulling a big parachute. Well, the opposite is, you don't have much grip, but you have to get out of the gas right away. As that track cools, your car inherently has more grip. So therefore, that lower downforce, higher speed package becomes better and better and better. The question is, what kind of race are we going to have? If you get a long run on tires, you're going to love that downforce. But Burton, if it's a short sprint, you want those fast cars, right? You want that guy doesn't have a lot of downforce, but there's just nothing you can do if a guy's faster than the straightaway. How do you protect?
Yeah, that's just such a balance. But your favorite saying, I think it's your favorite saying, what is it? In every long run, there's a short run, right?
That's it.
So you better be able to take off on these short runs.
So we're seeing Kyle Busch running up in the 3rd spot. His older brother is back there in 15th, Marty.
And the playoff driver, Kurt Busch, as you mentioned, Rick, back in 15th position. He describes the beginning of runs as, quote, a hot mess with the car pogo sticking around, but they get better the longer they run. You know, earlier this week, Kurt said, hey, I am not very good at this racetrack. There's a couple of racetracks on the calendar, Indianapolis, Martinsville, and for some reason, Las Vegas. I just can't figure out this racetrack. And he's a Las Vegas native and admitted earlier this week, I put a lot of pressure on myself. I want to win at my home track. So, Jeff, I'm sure you can relate to that, right? When you go to your home track, family and friends are usually around. You see friends and go to dinner with them. There's usually a little extra pressure, just like Kurt's feeling this weekend here in Vegas.
Yeah, Marty, I think you just, you want to do well for the people that have supported you. And it's gratifying when you do that. They're pulling for you. They've supported you. They've sacrificed for you to do the things you love. And you want to reward them with some good finishes and something fun to watch. And sometimes that's a little overwhelming, and sometimes it can be a distraction. I think that's true, but it means something to you, but it means, I think, even more to those people that support you.
Right now, the top 5 have Toyota, Ford, Toyota, Chevy, and Ford. It's all being led by Denny Hamlin out in front of the field here at Vegas. Vacuum cleaners. We know how important it is to come in first. That's why first responder, those calls take priority on the network public safety agencies rely on. NASCAR is brought to you by Verizon. Tonight's aerial coverage brought to you by Geico. Take a look at the strip off in the distance and then look down here at this 1.5 mile track. Out in front of the field, Denny Hamlin now has a 1.8 second lead over Joey Logano, Marty.
And Rick, they admitted coming into the playoffs, this is the racetrack they were worried about. When I talked to Chris Gabehart about the extra effort they put in here, he said we probably jumped to Vegas and worrying about the setup about a week earlier than we normally would have. He said, I think we can have a Dover moment this weekend. What does that mean? Well, remember, earlier this year they went to Dover. Denny had never won, and he finally got to victory lane. He said, we may not win tonight, but we may put ourselves in a much better position than we've been in Vegas in quite a while. Dave?
Marty, I don't know if this is in Steve's book of racing philosophies, but every quarter entry usually involves a quarter exit except for the one you don't make. Here's Austin Dillon's dealings right now.
3 and 4 is really good.
top and bottom. Really, it's just 1 and 2. We just need to carry more speed through the entry into middle. That's where the only place we're getting beat.
I can't catch the exit if I do that.
That's right, if he tries what they want, he won't be able to catch the exit. He has been trying it, but the 3-car hasn't made any progress from actually made 2 spots, Kelly, from the restart in 9th.
Yeah, Dave, we documented the issues for Brad Keselowski in that number 2 car and the 20-second pit stop that they had to try to remedy it. So how is it? Well, Brad has reported back that the 2 is certainly better over the bumps now, but he's a little bit free getting into the corner. He said his exit is spot on. He just needs more stability getting into the corner. So it sounds like they've got part of the issue fixed. Now they got to take care of the rest on this next caution.
I like that, Kelly. You know, you have to get the heights right. If the thing's hitting the ground, you can't really worry about balance. I like the aggression out of this team to make adjustments early. I know he had a 20-second pit stop. He gave up that track position, but that's only becoming harder and harder to get back later into the race. So make the adjustments and get ahead of it. And what we heard out of the 3-car that Dave reported is, you know, you can move your problem. Junior, you know how it is. You can drive the car different to move your problem from the middle to the exit or the exit to the middle, but the problem still exists. That's what I hear out of Austin Dillon, right? He said he can do what you want through the middle of the corner, but then he just moves the issue to the exit.
And back to Brad, you know, something about Brad, keep in mind, I know at Richmond, there's a few places Brad's just dominated, but a lot of these races, you look up and Brad doesn't run very well early in the race. You know, think about, he's finished top 10 here the last 2 races and no stage points. So, you know, this team gets better as the race goes on, and I expect to see that. I expect to see much more speed as this race continues forward for these guys.
More shade coming into turns 1 and 2. Sun continuing to set. And we see the 38 of John Hunter Nemechek trying to get by the 2 of Keselowski here. We mentioned Ryan Blaney, one of the only ones to be up inside of the playoff drivers. Well, Matt DiBenedetto is also up there as well. He's running in the 10th spot right now. Blaney, DiBenedetto both missing out on this round of 12. And when we talked to Matt DiBenedetto 2 weeks ago, he made the comment he has an extension on his contract, but they have to let him know by the end of this month. So in the next couple days, he's going to know if he's still going to be driving this 21 car next year.
Yeah, you want to continue to perform. With 9 laps to go in this stage, Clint Boyer right behind him wants to just get that spot. We have seen many times a tie in these rounds, right? 1 point can make all the difference. So you guys talked about stage points. Well, here it is. Clint Boyer knows in 9 more laps, the top 10 will get stage points. Can he get by Matty D? And Matty D's not going to give him that spot because you just mentioned it, that contract conversation, right? He wants to prove he deserves to be in this car.
Well, I think if Matt keeps running that bottom, Clint's going to love that. He's getting so much momentum down the straightaway. Look at him using the draft and the run off the top to close in on this 21. Back to the high side again for Boyer. On the gas. 21 car sliding up the racetrack. Clint closes the gap down the back straightaway.
Clint and his team came with a little different package this week versus what they ran here in the spring, trying to make more downforce, thinking the temperature was going to be hotter. So they wanted to make more downforce, not be trimmed out quite as much. That's going to hurt his straightaway speed, but hopefully help his corner speed.
Here it is. He's making some good time in 3 and 4. He's not quite as good down here against the 21 in 1 and 2. Matt moved up the track a little bit there, trying to find a little more speed, rolling the center of the corner.
Will he take his line here in 3 and 4? No, DiBenedetto back to the bottom of the track, and Boyer stays right up against the wall, keeping that momentum up.
All right, here we see on corner exit. Boyer's going to run him back down. Will he have another opportunity to try to go and make a pass? I don't think so.
Boyer wants to pass him on the outside. We've seen it. He wants to be just like that right there, but he gives up a lot of ground in the entrance to turn 1. Kind of breaks even through the middle, then starts gaining on him down the back straightaway, but loses so much in 1 and 2 that he can't make up enough in 3 and 4 to get it done yet. Marty, what do you have on the 14?
You guys mentioned, Jeff, and you mentioned about them bringing a different car here. Johnny Klossmeyer's crew chief for Clint Boyer, he said, hey, we tried to run what Kevin Harvick runs here, an extremely trimmed out car. We just can't do it. It doesn't work for every driver. So we brought more downforce than we've ever brought here. So they expected to be good here in the daytime with it being hot and slick. And Brett Griffin, his spotters, brought up, yes, that's 1 point in front of you. You've got to go get it, Clint. Kelly?
Getting back to Matt DiBenedetto's contract discussion, Thursday is the deadline for a decision to be made, so Matt told me he expects an announcement to come next week, and he's not reading into anything too much that he hasn't been told one way or another. He said, look, the NASCAR schedule for 2021 hasn't even been put in place or announced, so they've still got a lot of things to work out with sponsors and scheduling, but he's optimistic. I think he feels like he's proved himself this year and fully expects to be back with the team again for 2021.
Making the playoffs for Wood Brothers, a huge accomplishment for Matt DiBenedetto and this team.
We watched that battle, we watched that battle between Boyer and Matty D. This group up here is the same way. You have Harvick, Dillon, and Blaney. Dillon and Harvick have kind of been trading barbs as well. Like, Harvick got by the 3, but he just can't seem to get away from him.
Yeah, it looks like these guys dispatched Bowman back to 8. Blaney's coming up through here into 7th place, right there behind the 3 car. Austin's going to get a great run here off the top here. He's tried to close in on the 4 of Harvick. They all kind of keep this distance right here. Only 2 laps to go in the stage. And Harvick has Chase Elliott right on the front windshield. They're all stacked right up.
Shows you how competitive it is. Austin Dillon sitting there running 6, saying, hey, man, having a good day. Guess what? 5 in front of you.
I like that line Austin did. Kind of a middle entry. Turn the car down around the bumps on the bottom to make a low exit. Now, to the bottom he goes. He's going to go around the 4 car. And Harvick really backed up the entry to run the top.
We'll see what that momentum does for Harvick. Look at him close the gap now. Can he get to the inside and clear him? Final lap of stage 1. Right now, these two fighting for the 5th position.
Man, lap car right here is going to decide what these guys can do down the back straightaway. Might take away the high side for both of these guys.
As they fight through 3 and 4, Denny Hamlin doesn't need a fight. He wins the stage. That's his 9th stage win of 2020. And is that an exclamation point on those people saying, were you distracted because of the announcement of you and Michael Jordan starting a team? I think it was, I can still win. Denny Hamlin wins stage 1 at Vegas. Another playoff point for Denny Hamlin.
I'm shooting for the moon.
A gambler? Denny Hamlin didn't have to gamble, he bet on himself. And he won stage 1. Stage 1 complete. The NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Las Vegas, the South Point 400. You know, Las Vegas Motor Speedway announced a multi-year extension with South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa for sponsorship of the annual Fall NASCAR Cup Series race. That extends long-standing partnership between the track and South Point owner Michael Gaughan. It dates back to the Speedway's construction back in 1996. There's his son, Brendan Gaughan. Michael Gaughan, such a big friend to racing, has been amazing, not only in the Las Vegas community, but really across the country. Teams getting ready to make their way onto pit road. And we saw earlier the 18 team, great job, got Kyle Busch off of pit road first. Wasn't able to hang on to that spot as they're coming towards you now, Kelly.
And after a wedge adjustment last time down pit road, Joey Logano said he was just still too free. He needs to be tighter to run that second lane. So Paul Wolfe, the crew chief, decided a track bar adjustment down, an air pressure adjustment in the right rear to try to help out that 22 car, Marty.
Denny Hamlin told Chris Gabehart after the stage win, nice job with the car. We have something to work with. He said, I have too much wheel in it over the bumps. That's my only concern. When I want to be aggressive with it, it doesn't work. He said, I can stand to be a little bit tighter. Meanwhile, his teammate Kyle Busch, he said he's tight over the bumps early in the run and loose later in the run. In fact, he said he almost spun out at one point. Kyle Busch's team once again will win the race off pit road. Looked like Denny Hamlin and his team had a little trouble with the right rear.
See the race off pit road brought to you by PNC Bank. As you mentioned, Kyle Busch wins the race off pit road again. Can he hold on to it?
In Las Vegas, as they get ready for stage 2, here are the drivers, especially the playoff drivers who cashed in after stage 1. Denny Hamlin with his 9th stage win. He earns the most points. He's looking for better results after a less than stellar round 1. Again, this is the first race in round 2, the first of 3 races in this round. Let's bring in Brad Doherty, who's at the track. And Brad, you were really big on these Penske drivers to start the show. Joey Logano is hanging right there.
Yeah, Joey's hanging tough. Brad had a little bit of a problem. You know, they put a Packer in on a pit stop, got him behind a little bit. The biggest thing, though, for me, Krista, as I've noticed, is all of these race cars, as I've monitored in the top 10, were all built for this first part of this stage, trying to be balanced and secure. So we saw them get spread out a little bit. I think now, as we go into this second stage, we'll see adjustments that allow these guys to get a little bit closer, race a little harder. They're all preparing for when the sun goes down and these shadows get long. Rick, I think we'll see some competitive racing.
We're looking forward to that, and we'll see now Denny Hamlin, who didn't come off of pit road with the lead, is going to start behind his teammate, Kyle Busch. There's a little bit of fuel coming out of the 18 there when he sloshes it back and forth. Joey Logano will start on the front row, but on the inside. Now, we've seen when the guys work together, which Austin Dillon has been a part of this before, they've been able to push that guy that's on the inside out front.
Yeah, in the Xfinity Series, that seems outside's the place to be, but that inside line in the Cup Series with these rules can organize and make some good ground with these restarts down into turn 1 through turn 2.
Field approaching the Geico restart zone. Again, Kyle Busch on the outside, Joey Logano on the inside. Plenty of space between the top 4. Kyle Busch trying to clear that 22 as they go through 1 and 2, but here comes Logano working back on the bottom of the racetrack, and now has a little momentum and help.
Not organized on the outside just yet. That inside got a little push going, sends Logano out into the lead. Logano drifts up a little bit in front of the 18 car. Kyle's going to try to go to the bottom.
Has momentum. Logano blocks. They go all the way to the apron.
Logano blocked as long as he could. Finally said, I cannot continue to block. I'm going to get wrecked if I do. Going to try to stay on the outside of Kyle Busch. Now hoping to get some help from Denny Hamlin from behind.
These cars look like they are not fun to ride through those bumps. You'll see
Here comes Hamlin for the lead.
Oh,
wide. The 18 slides up, hits a 22. Hamlin takes the lead, and here comes Chase Elliott following into second.
Big tire rub. Yeah, big tire rub on the 22.
Yeah, he needs to slow down here. Does not need an issue or any kind of problem with the left rear tire.
There it is.
I would call him the pit road. That much smoke out of the left rear of the 22 this early in the race.
Tire up.
Yeah, you heard TJ Majors talk about it. You see where their damage is. That left rear tire, I don't believe can survive with that big of a rub. I think you need to come to pit road, change tires, and take your medicine.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's not worth it. If it blows out, you could end your night. You came into the race 17 points. 17 points pretty good.
I think we're going to have to come.
I agree with Joey. I like what he's saying. Come to pit road. Let's see what Paul Wolf does. See if he brings him to pit road. This is the contact, guys.
Yes, big run right here from Denny Hamlin. Then he drives in, makes it 3 wide.
Joey's going to try to come down.
Yeah, I thought 18 almost was a little surprised the 11 was there also.
Yeah, that 22 is going to come to pit road right here.
So Joey Logano
This time
giving up
here.
his top 3 position, and he's coming right at you, Kelly.
Yeah, and spotter TJ Majors at first thought maybe they didn't need to come to pit road because the smoke wasn't as bad as we initially saw. It was Joey who made the decision, said there's smoke coming inside here, so they said left side tires only and fix that damage, get rid of the tire rub. So a 2-tire stop there for the 22.
177 laps to go. I just think this is the wise decision. You're going to lose a lap. Here comes the leaders. They're going to lap Joey Logano, but with 29 cars in the lead lap, there's not a lot of competition other than perhaps Reddick for the free pass position. So get back on the racetrack, try to race Reddick, try to stay, this close to the leaders and see if you can continue the day.
And look at this, Chase Elliott, a big run to the inside, trying to take the top spot away from Hamlin. Goes right on by Chase Elliott, new leader at Vegas.
This car looked really good right there through 3 and 4. Is able to just stay right on the bottom.
Chase Elliott already had led 28 laps in this race. Back up front, Denny Hamlin has led 57. Kyle Busch led 6 laps, but Kyle Busch doesn't sound very happy. Listen to his radio.
Right rear don't look good. Get a good picture.
Mile and a half. It's going to have to ride it out to the caution. We can get it straightened back out. Nothing permanent.
They're obviously talking about the right rear damage from that same contact we saw that got the 22. There's no lettering on the right rear tire. And I'll be honest, with the paint scheme in the 18 and the mash of colors, I'm sure there's damage. I can't see it from these shots right here. And you heard the frustration from Kyle Busch. It's killed. It's a mile and a half. That's how important the aerodynamics are. I like Adam Stevens, though, calming the situation. Listen, when we come to pit road, we'll work on it. Right now, we don't have a tire rub. Let's just keep riding it out. He's still in the 4th position.
Yeah, heard the comment about, hey, look at the pictures. Pictures all over the place around the racetrack now. They can get instantly. So watch Denny Hamlin as he drives into the corner. See the 18, he goes to get on the 11, but then goes up the racetrack a little bit. Let's watch it from Joey's point of view. The Joey spotter.
Getting pushed through now. 11's clear, coming to you. He's in line, going to the bottom. 2 inside, 2 inside, 2 inside, 2 inside.
Yeah, see, I feel like the 18 came up on Joey.
In the middle.
And that isn't necessarily Kyle Busch turning the steering wheel. Air can move your car. You know, a car drives underneath you, it can push your car up the racetrack. There's 3 cars entering the corner side by side, and it's not unusual for contact to be made in that situation.
So Junior and Jeff, when Kyle Busch was setting up to go into that corner, he didn't know the 11 was going to be down there. Would he have dove down and be on the white line, but then all of a sudden, as the 11 is there, does he change his mind and not be able to go down there?
I think the move by the 11 surprised him a little bit, and he didn't anticipate Denny making that move, but Denny had to run, wanted to make that choice, and made it. I think the 18 just needs to be happy that he doesn't have a smoking quarter panel and bringing him to pit road and losing a lap. You know, hang in there and they'll work on the car. Obviously, that's a lot of damage to the side of these cars. We know how sensitive they are. He's able to maintain the speed that he's got to run right there in the top 5. So this is still a winnable race for this 18.
It's also, Junior, it's a little bit of frustration coming out of Kyle because of who the contact was with. You have less patience for someone that you've had incidents with before. That's just how it goes. You immediately don't give them the benefit of the doubt. You immediately get madder. Some of that is just the emotions of who that incident was with.
And right now, Kyle Busch still holding on to that 4th position. And he has talked before about racing against Joey Logano, and he has vented his frustrations. Listen.
You just always kind of got to watch out for Logano, and he's going to put himself in some particular situations, and sometimes the ramifications he doesn't care about, where I feel like us in the 18 car, we try to do it a little bit more methodically, cleanly if we can, unless it comes down to a final restart and basically a Hail Mary you got to get in order to make it to the next round.
So now he's coming under fire from Austin Dillon, but Kyle Busch trying to hang on to that 4th spot, Marty.
And Rick, that coaching continuing to come from Adam Stevens, also Tony Hirschman, the spotter for Kyle Busch. They are telling him, hey, it doesn't look that bad. And Adams told him and reiterated a few times, listen, we'll work on this next stop. We're going to get the best we can get out of this day. And this is where Adam Stevens is so good with Kyle Busch. When he has these flare-ups on the radio, Adam can calm them down in the right way and keep them focused. Right now, still hanging on in 4th, and they're not too worried about that right rear damage.
So that's a great point, Marty. And maybe you even think about, Steve, would you short pit in a situation like this? They've got to come to pit road at some point in time. They don't have enough fuel to make it all the way to the end of the stage.
I think the frustration level is much higher than the lack of performance. Kyle Busch continues to run 4th. I wouldn't change any of my plans. Everything I see out of the 18 says this car is still just fine.
Still strong, running in the top 5. Chase Elliott still out front. I stayed up late last night to watch this. Tomorrow on NBC, Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final. It was overtime, double overtime actually last night. And that will extend the series to Game 7, potentially. The Lightning, can they hoist the Lord Stanley's Cup with a win? Well, that coverage beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern on NBC.
Quite a battle last night, wasn't it?
It was a late night battle.
We did the Xfinity race, got home and watched the entire overtime. It's fun.
Double overtime. And right now, it's Chase Elliott who's out front, as we see the 21 of Matt DiBenedetto and the 1 of Kurt Busch. Those two running 10th and 11th right now. A little bit further up, Alex Bowman holds on to the 3rd spot, Kelly.
Yeah, how about that? 200 Motorsports cars inside the top 3, but crew chief for the 88, Greg Ives, told me that they come to this track with a lot of high expectations. He said they ran really well here in the spring, felt like they had a shot at the win. It really came down to a late race strategy call that didn't necessarily work out for him, but he said Alex and I would both be really disappointed if we don't come out with a strong result here today. They are feeling really optimistic since kind of getting their mojo back. Strong results through the first 3 races of the playoffs, Dave. And this team right now, Alex telling them that the 88 car is pretty darn good.
Kelly, Jeff mentioned in the open of the show how the Austin Dillon bunch had a 4th place finish. They're another top 5 run so far, but he felt like he needed to be freed up just a little bit on that last run. One thing working to their advantage, turns 3 and 4, better than almost everybody as he tries to hunt down the 18 of Kyle Busch. Kelly?
Another Hendrick Motorsport driver inside the top 10 is the 7-time champion Jimmy Johnson. I had a chance to talk with him earlier this week, and I said, as you look at the remaining races on this schedule here in your final year, which places do you have circled as sort of your best opportunity? And he pointed to Las Vegas as one of those tracks. He is, of course, a 4-time winner here. And he said he just always felt like tracks like Las Vegas with lower grip have really served him well. I also asked his crew chief, Cliff Daniels, about getting Jimmy that win. He said our objective has been to get him back to victory lane all season. That certainly hasn't changed. They feel like they've had the speed in that 48, guys. They just haven't been able to get a little lady luck on their side. Maybe that changes here in Vegas.
Well, Kelly, you have delivered all of this good news, according to Hendrick Motorsports, with Chase Elliott up front, Alex Bowman running in the 3rd spot, Jimmy Johnson in 8th. One of the big news stories that was really overshadowed by Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin was a penalty, a fine that Hendrick Motorsports incurred because of too much wind tunnel time. Steve, explain that.
So basically, Rick, there's been a limitation put on how much these teams can go to the wind tunnel. It's a total of hours this year and next year, split up with an amount each year. 70 hours of what each organization was allowed in 2020. And somehow, I'll be honest, I can't fathom how Hendrick Motorsports went over their allotment. The story is that it was less than an hour. They self-reported. Either way, I don't think it matters, right? You have a set amount. Everyone else has to work within it. For that, it was a $100,000 fine, and perhaps more importantly, 10 hours from next year have been taken away. So as they continue to develop their cars for the future, they're going to have to do it with 10 less wind tunnel hours in 2021.
Good little battle right here between Truex, Austin Dillon down the front straightaway. Austin had drove up right to the back of the 18 of Kyle Busch. Went down into turn 1 and followed the 18. Lost the nose big. He's fell back here in the 19 of Truex trying to get around him. Austin trying to regroup, using that higher line.
You know, Austin Dillon said it wasn't a surprise that he advanced into this round. He said he totally expected to get through the first round and into the second round. A lot of confidence coming out of Austin Dillon. He said he's focused more on the performance of this team than he has been in the past.
Yeah, I'm blown away by the speed this team has because they didn't have it. I mean, they weren't fast throughout most of the year. Not this fast. And here he had, I mean, he was a race-winning car in Richmond.
Yeah.
Look at that. Contact with 19.
He's got his hands full as Martin Truex Jr. got up there and maybe gave him a little shove.
I'm willing to say that the amount of people that were surprised are much more than the amount of people that weren't. I mean, I just, and that's good for them, right? Great job of stepping up at big moments. That's what teams do. That's what drivers do as they start to get a foothold on being able to be more competitive. Those big moments are opportunities, and I have been extremely impressed with the speed that this team has brought.
I told Austin to own it. being this sort of 16th seed underdog, don't be offended. Own it and be that guy that shocks the sport.
And he said he wants to continue to shock people, maybe all the way to the championship. Well, right behind him, Martin Truex Jr. has been putting a lot of pressure on him. Listen into his radio.
Well, the problem is once I start losing my entry, I can't even move around. You know, it's killing me. Here it comes. Last 3 laps has gotten worse every turn.
Talking to a different crew chief here in 2020, James Small making the calls now for the 19 team. Cole Pern retired after last year. Chase Elliott has a 7/10 of a second lead over Denny Hamlin, who won stage 1. You're not going to miss a thing as we go NASCAR nonstop from Las Vegas. To get a different gun. That's why the slow stop for them. That's 12th stop is underway. And the Benedetto's coming in.
Saw that 18 pit crew, Steve.
Yeah, so the tire goes on, and you see right here the gun instantly. He knows he has an issue. Like he went. It took the tire off fine. You see him hit the gun. There's a button that goes from forward to reverse. So see right here. 5 lug nuts, tire off. Tire gets hung. And he knows just instantly. Whatever it is, Rick, it was an instant. It's not something that took him a lot of time. He ran behind. They had a spare gun ready. You see he plugs it in, comes back around. Good recovery for a bad break for the 18, Marty.
Yeah, that was Cam Wall making that quick recovery for Kyle Busch and his team. Clint Boyer's here on pit road. The race has worked out fairly well so far for Boyer. Got 1 stage point in stage 1. Then he had debris on the grill for a lot of the run here in stage 2. That eventually got off. Boyer still 2 free, though, in that 14 car. They come to pit road here with 38 to go in the stage.
You see the 18 car. He was running in 4th position, about 4.5 seconds back. That is going on. That was a long, lengthy pit stop. Be interesting to see when this cycles around how much ground he actually lost right there. Kelly.
The 2 of Brad Keselowski also coming to pit road. They've certainly gotten this car a lot better after being mired back in about 20th. He finally worked his way up just outside the top 10. You see, though, they're going to make another chassis adjustment right there. Brad struggling to run the right line that he wants to on track, so they're making some adjustments to to help him out there.
So we showed you the replay of the struggle with Kyle Busch and the broken air gun. The team, I'm going to say, did the best you can, right? This is something that you just don't know is going to happen. You see the tire changing the gun now. Put a little fluid in there, just lube everything up. Cam Wall, longtime veteran on pit road. So the interesting thing about these air guns is, you know, they are not team provided anymore. They're provided for the teams. They don't own these guns, as we see Joey Logano on pit road, Kelly.
Remember, he went a lap down after he had to pit for 2 tires after contact with the 18. It's another track bar adjustment for Joey Logano, so they continue to work on this 22.
Pit road speed 45 miles an hour, and Jimmy Johnson was speeding on pit road. The one of Kurt Busch actually overshot his pit box entry, so a little bit slower stop for that team.
William Byron, the 24, continues to run on the racetrack.
And Steve, what did you say? Around 60 laps is the fuel window for these guys?
Yeah, you can run 60 laps. He's run 40 currently, so he could probably go 15 to 20 more laps in this tank of fuel. You wonder how long Chad Knaus will leave him out there. I mean, there is an option that you run a whole 20 more laps, come in and maybe only take 2 tires, shorten your time on pit road, maybe take 4, try to catch the yellow here. I think this is Chad just trying to take a little bit of a gamble, get a break. We haven't seen the 24 near the top 5 or 10 most of the day. At some point, you kind of have to hope things go your way. You get a little lucky. Marty.
Hey, Steve, remember Ricky Stenhouse Jr. did this exact move that Chad Knaus and William Byron are trying to do right now here in the spring. They ran long in every stage, and they actually caught a caution in stage 2, so this might work out for William Byron and Chad Knaus. I had a chance to talk to Cam Wall, the front tire changer for Kyle Busch, and what a helpless feeling it must be for him. He said when he's trying to change that right front tire, you see him on the bottom of the screen trying to explain what happened. He said all the RPMs all of a sudden went out of the gun. So I can't imagine being a tire changer and all of a sudden your gun just is no longer working unexplained. So that's what happened on that tire change for Kyle Busch and Cam Wall on the fronts.
What I liked is that it was instant. You know, he had a reaction right away. You know, he didn't fumble around for 10 seconds trying to figure out what was going on. Whatever it was that he was feeling, as Marty just reported, he instantly knew something wrong, and now he's debriefing right here, talking about the gun.
You know, it's amazing too, Steve, that these guys practice every day, and they practice things like what happened. You know, if a gun fails, what do we do? You know, he immediately threw the gun up in the air and was communicating with the team, hey, it's, you know, the gun's not working. And then we saw another crew member come over and finish that stop. It was impressive how they choreograph everything, even if there's going to be an issue that could happen on pit road.
Yeah, obviously just prepare and put some extra grip tape. All that's adjustable on these guns. Every tire changer kind of has your little signature of how they want that on there to make sure they have grip. So you see right there, there's the gun. And if you actually look, the button I was talking about is right there. So basically, that's the button you switch, push it left and right to go from on and off. So let's take another look at this 18, because there was a lot of commotion to try to fix it. As we showed before, tire comes off, tire goes on. He has the issue, so he knows he has a gun issue. He goes back over pit wall to change the gun.
A little technical difficulty there. He did go back over to change that gun.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out whether the rear guy changed it or if he actually went back to get the gun. It doesn't really matter at this point. All we know is Kyle Busch, Jeff, as you pointed out, has lost quite a bit of time to the leaders back there running behind Blaney, in front of Matt DiBenedetto, currently in the 13th position. It's hard to figure out exactly how much time he lost just because he's on that break now. He's actually a lap down to William Byron, who's on the racetrack. So, you know, a yellow would be a bad break for Kyle Busch. It would make this unfortunate situation worse.
Top 4 have stayed out. They have not come to pit road yet. That's William Byron, Chris Buescher, Ryan Newman, and Corey LaJoie out front of Vegas. The official app of NASCAR delivers an all-new racing experience for the playoffs. You can customize your car, compete head-to-head against Cup Series playoff drivers to earn points. Search NASCAR in your app store and download for free. Start playing today. Brad Doherty is on site there in Vegas, and he's probably watching right now as William Byron has come to pit road and given up the lead. We saw, Brad, you had a pretty good seat up there.
Yeah, man, it was excellent. Great spot. I'm right above pit road right now. And the question I have is for Steve. I'm watching some of these teams that have come down pit road. The front stretch of the racetrack, the sun's going down. It's about 10 degrees cooler than the back stretch. I saw a few wedge adjustments. Do you make that adjustment now, getting ready to go into the evening, or do you wait till after this stage break?
You know, Brad, that's a great question. I think that not only making the right adjustments, but kind of, I don't want to call it guessing, because you have an idea which way you think the track is going to go. But to your point, Brad, if you know you have to start tightening or freeing your car up, start making adjustments now so you don't have a big adjustment to make. We have seen with the limited amount of crew members down to 5 guys over pit wall, big adjustments can slow your pit stop down. And this seems counterintuitive, Rick, but you actually want to make big adjustments under green, not under yellow. While it costs you time on the racetrack, a slow pit stop on the yellow costs you positions. So if you're going to lose 1 second, that hurts a lot less under green
than losing 4 spots on pit road. And we have seen a couple guys come to pit road. Chris Buescher is still out there. Ryan Newman as well. And so those two have stayed out on the racetrack. They're still in front of Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin, who are running 3rd and 4th right now. Corey LaJoie is still out there as well. He's in 5th. Alex Bowman, Bart Truex Jr., Austin Dillon, all will be inside the top 5 when everybody starts to do their pit stops. Dave?
And Rick, he'll be in soon. Luke Lambert employing the run long scheme right now for Chris Buescher in that car. And they're running a little bit of mini momentum right now, finishing 8th last week at Bristol. It's the 5th single-digit finish of a winless 2020 for him. And so it's really been pretty good. And the next 2 are super speedway and a road course. Those are a couple of other places he's run single digits this year. So 17 team looking good, and get a little glory here before they have to put Sunoco fuel in the race car.
I think the big question for me is we see 21 laps to go in this stage is, you know, will Luke Lambert, when he comes to pit road, only put on right side tires and, you know, 1 tank of fuel to go 20 laps and try to shorten his time? Or does he feel like he needs to have 4 tires to have good lap time? We saw William Byron change 4 tires. We'll see what Luke Lambert does with the 17 when he comes to pit road. But right now, it's always great leading laps, Rick. Regardless of the reason, it can be a pit cycle or not, leading is always the place to be.
Well, Luke Lambert doesn't have to be in Vegas to gamble. I can guarantee you that. Luke's very smart on pit road, and wouldn't be surprised if that's what he was thinking right now, Steve. Think about that championship run how close. Remember Ryan Newman came through several years ago, and all those pit calls came from Luke Lambert, and pit road was a lot of why they got in position to win that championship that year. So Luke Lambert will roll the dice.
He's got a 12-second lead right now over Chase Elliott. If he comes to pit road now, it does what you say, Steve. Can he stay on the lead lap?
He can't stay on the lead lap with 4 tires. I'll be honest, my calculator questions if he could do it even with 2 tires, or it's going to cost him about, I figure, 33 to 35 seconds. So you figure 32-second lap, 12-second lead, that's 44 seconds. So 2 tires, yeah, he'll stay just on the lead lap.
Pretty close.
Assuming a lot of assumptions, good pit stops, no issues, you know.
And then does 2 tires keep him as fast as Chase Elliott is running?
Yeah, so right now his teammate, Ryan Newman, you see on the left-hand side, it says pit next to his name. He'd be a good judge of that. And as a crew chief on pit road, you have all these tools, but sometimes this is the best reinforcement. If you assume something's going to happen, well, let's just see what happens to the 6 of Ryan Newman. So he's going to take 4 tires, and we'll be able to see where he blends back on the racetrack.
Big change there, too.
And as this cycle has gone around, Jeff, we have reported heavily what happened to Kyle Busch. It was hard to understand the time. Basically 16 seconds, going through all the math. That unfortunate gun issue cost Kyle Busch 16 seconds.
And so right now, Kyle Busch 29 seconds behind Buescher, but actually he'd be 18 seconds behind Chase Elliott right now, who will be the leader as soon as Buescher decides to come to pit road.
We're watching a battle on the racetrack a moment ago. Here it is, the 88. Alex Bowman and Truex trying to close in on this 88 car and make this a little bit more of a battle. Great run for Alex Bowman. Remember in February, he had a potential race-winning car when all the strategy kind of went out the window late in the race, and him and Blaney didn't fare so well in the results, but the car was fast. Back here again, he's got great speed. He's ran into top 5 all night. And he's coming into, he's going to have to be worried about Dega, but, at the Roval, he's had actually a good result there. He's got to go into the Roval thinking, man, I could go back there and sort of recreate that. I think the only worry for him is going to be Talladega, but a great result here makes all that a lot easier.
So Bowman right now running in the 4th position. Buescher has come to pit road now, so he will relinquish the lead. Chase Elliott will take over that top spot. Dave.
Question will be on the number of tires and the amount of time putting fuel into the race car. The car was a little bit free, so they're going to make a track bar adjustment. You'll see the wedge wrench go into the window. There it goes. Right side's done, and they're going to go all 4 this time and fill it full as Buescher gives up the lead to Chase Elliott.
15 laps to go in stage 2. It has gone by quickly. Chase Elliott back out front. Denny Hamlin, who won stage 1, running in the 2nd position. Does it all with impressive towing and payload capacity. It makes the hard jobs easy. Plus an engine that's quietest in its class. Available now at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Inside of 10 laps to go in the South Point 400 from Las Vegas. Still out front, Chase Elliott. He has now led 61 laps. He's led the most laps out of anyone. Denny Hamlin currently in the 2nd spot, and he has led the 2nd most laps, 57 laps led. But Chase Elliott up front still, Dave.
And Ricky's picking up right where he left off in February. Remember, won stage 1 and stage 2 before he had a problem. And remember the attitude of a lot of drivers, including Chase here at Vegas. He said, I feel like even though Vegas has been super hit or miss for us, I've got to try to get a win and move on the right way, because at Talladega, the odds say I'm probably going to crash. A lot of drivers feel that way, Marty.
Hey Dave, 9 laps to go here in stage 2, and Martin Truex Jr. running much better, sitting in the 4th position right now. Remember, they won this race last year, and Martin had some interesting comments earlier this week saying, hey, I have to come into these playoffs with a much different mentality than I had last year. All those years before, I had all those playoff points to lean on. This year, in this round, we come in only plus 11. I have to stay on offense this round, and we need to win this round and next round if we want to advance to the championship 4, Kelly.
Well, speaking of points, the 10 team reminding Eric Almirola that every point counts. They were hoping that he could crack that top 10 and pick up a playoff point here in stage 2. Well, Eric knows that all too well. Remember, a couple of years ago, it came down to a 3-way tie with Jimmy Johnson and Kyle Larson, and it was Eric who was able to advance because of a better finishing position in that round. So he knows more than anyone that every point counts. But right now he's running 12th and running out of time to make it into the top 10.
Got somebody else that's quietly having a good night. Not a great night, but a good night. It's John Hunter Nemechek. Sitting there in 16th place. Think about this. He's running in front of Kurt Busch, in front of Eric Jones. Right, 2 big teams able to stay in front of them. So nice night so far for John Hunter Nemechek.
He's at 38. You mentioned John Hunter Nemechek running 16th. Pretty impressive right now. The 16 drivers who started the playoff all in playoff contention, so the round of 16, 14 positions right now are filled by the guys who started in the top 16. The only 2 that aren't in there, Kurt Busch and Joey Logano. And I think Logano now running in the 27th position. We got to revisit what happened to him. You know, with that contact having to come to pit road, it's put him back there.
This is the battle for the lead right here. Chase Elliott has it. Denny Hamlin is better than Chase. He's a little faster by himself, but he's definitely had a better chance of getting through traffic. Down to 1 or 2 car lengths there in 3 and 4, guys.
4 to go. Denny Hamlin wanting to sweep both stages, but he's got the 9 of Chase Elliott out in front of him. He'll have to get by. Is there enough time?
Lap traffic could play a role. Just depends on how Chase approaches the lap traffic, and then he's going to go to the top. 6-6 going to move down the racetrack, give him that open groove on the outside and the momentum.
Denny loves the fact that Chase Elliott's running the bottom. That gives Denny that top. Tons of clean air. Look at that run he got on the front straightaway.
That was a big deal there. That lap car moving down just a little bit, ever so slightly.
He takes the top again. Chase Elliott down to the bottom of the track. Will the momentum pay off for Denny Hamlin? Let's see what Chase Elliott does here in 3 and 4. He's going to take that line away. He goes up high. Denny Hamlin goes low.
Stenhouse Jr. right there in front of him. He has pretty decent pace. It's going to affect these guys just a little bit.
And the last car in the lead lap, he's going to keep fighting.
Oh, he's going to move down.
He's been running the bottom. That's why Chase Elliott was forced to go to the top. Just couldn't follow Ricky Stenhouse on the bottom. It was just hurting his car too much.
Ricky's going to give him plenty of room there. Better move.
That move by Chase Elliott put a pretty big gap between the 9 and the 11. Now they're both up next to the wall through 3 and 4. Coming up on 1 to go in stage 2.
As we watch this battle for the lead, Joey Logano fans, you saw him come to pit road an extra time because of that damage early in this stage. He still has great pace, but back at 27, still a lap down. Got the opportunity for the free pass, so he's got to go into the final stage a lap down, but a lot of time left.
Clint Boyer's moved into 9th place. William Byron into 10th, knocking Kyle Busch out of the top 10.
Tyler Reddick slow on the racetrack. An issue with the 8 once again.
Our next hole is going to be after the 4.
Trying to get down. And this will be stage win for Chase Elliott. 3 of the 4 stages in 2020 from Las Vegas have been won by Chase Elliott. He won the 2 stages in the first race here in the spring, as Tyler Reddick will make it to pit road. And yeah, right front.
Flat hole side.
Yeah, that right side, all damage. Chase Elliott wins stage 2. Can he cash in, as we've heard Chris DeVoto mention, here at Vegas? His fans are appreciative of what he's doing, and they might be sounding that siren in Dawsonville. Hey, race fans, when in Las Vegas, stay where the racers stay at the South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa. Your ultimate pit stop on the Las Vegas Strip. South Point, everything you want, all under one roof. Getting ready for pit stops once again as the second stage has concluded. Chase Elliott gets the win of stage 2. Denny Hamlin won stage 1. You see his crew up on the wall getting ready. And we'll start off pit stops with Kelly.
And we'll check in on that 88 of Alex Bowman coming to pit road from the 3rd position. He said his car was a little bit free, but he and Greg Ives agreed that the track was going to tighten up as the sun continues to go down. So it doesn't sound like he's calling for any changes, just 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel, Marty.
And Kelly, I'll take it here in the middle of your screen. Chase Elliott get 4 tires and fuel as well. He didn't like the way that they were achieving their turning in the race car, but Marty, that's not something they think they can change here. They'll work on it later.
19 stage points for Denny Hamlin. He said the car tight on entry, tight in the center, and tight on exit, but told Chris Gabehart, I don't need much here. A terrific stop by the 11 bunch. Denny Hamlin will gain a spot here on pit road and take the lead.
Pit road crew does their job. Denny Hamlin wins the race off of pit road.
racetrack at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, getting ready for the final stage. If you want to hear more thoughts and opinions from the analysts here at NBC, well, you're in luck. You can do that on Wednesday mornings, 9 a.m. Eastern on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Brad Doherty will be this week's special guest. He, too, is at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And Brad, the good news, the sun is setting. That means the temperature, I hope, is going down. What about the drivers heating up? The 7 playoff drivers, by the way, who earned points in that last stage, all earned points in stage 1, too. So they're making the most of it. But who do you like in this final stage?
It's been interesting to watch, Krista. Obviously, you know, Elliott and Hamlin are on they're on a different planet. But the one car that I've been really watching has been Austin Dillon. We heard the guys talking about the success he's had in these playoffs. He finished 6th in the first stage. He backed it up with another 6th-place finish in the second stage. If they can make some current adjustments on that race car, Austin Dillon could get into this mix as we get later into the evening. He's got a fast race car, so I'm keeping an eye on that 3. I'm really impressed with Austin Dillon.
Krista mentioned earlier he's got an ace up his sleeve. Son Ace is enjoying, I'm sure, watching this race, and Dad out there as we see the most points earned tonight. Hamlin, Elliott, their finishes have given them the most stage points. And again, at the end of this round, at the end of the round of 12, the bottom 4 in points, well, they don't advance. They don't continue on to the round of 8. And so you want to gain as many points as you can throughout every race, and every position is a point.
Had a few cars take the wave around, which means they didn't come to pit road, got the lap back. Chris Buescher, Newman, LaJoie. This is on board right here with Joey Logano. He'll be racing Ryan Preece for the free pass if we do get a yellow. So there's going to be races all over the racetrack. We'll see how it works out here with 102 to go.
Field coming up to the Geico restart zone. Denny Hamlin, Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr., Ryan Blaney, the top 5. And it looks like Chase Elliott once again getting into the back bumper of the car in front of him. This time it's Denny Hamlin. He gives him a shove, and Hamlin clears the 88 of Bowman as they go into 1.
And right to the bottom of the racetrack to keep any momentum from coming. Just went down there and blocked that lane. Smart move by Hamlin. Can't hold him back, though.
Here comes Bowman. Hamlin in the middle of the track. Alex Bowman takes the lead away at Vegas.
Now Alex Bowman has the lead. First time he's had clean air all night.
He's going to go to the bottom. Hamlin just a line up. Using that momentum. Now to the back bumper again. He goes high.
Alex Bowman's never led a lap at Las Vegas Speedway. He has tonight.
Look at him where he's running, trying to break the draft. Not allow that 11 car to draft up on him for the next corner, running low off the corners. Get him.
Think about how important this is, too. Alex Bowman, remember, the winner of this race, they advance to the round of 8. If Alex Bowman doesn't have to worry about Talladega, doesn't have to worry about the Charlotte Roval, a huge weight off of his shoulders.
He doesn't even have to come out to the fence, get up against the wall. At least not till these tires wear out a little bit.
Hamlin's doing everything he can to get by him.
He is.
He's working hard.
Yeah, Alex doing everything he can to try to keep this lead just a few more laps.
And Chase Elliott behind him lost the lead on pit road twice tonight. That's so frustrating as a driver. Had command of the race and give it up on pit road. Now got to go back and try to find a way back around.
I'm impressed how Hamlin can draft down the straightaways, but then have a good enough car to run a groove higher to get that cleaner air and stick right with the 88. Now he has a little run here. Will he go up the banking? One more groove again. He will. Try to get on that right rear quarter panel of the 88.
That look down the front straightaway was just kind of a look, trying to kind of fake out Alex Bowman, getting in Alex's head a little bit, hope Alex makes a mistake.
That was what Denny Hamlin said he has been working on. Knowing when the restarts are the most important, knowing the moves that you make that are the most important of the race, and doing them at the most important times.
Wow, Alex ran
Yeah, he ran so high that it gave an advantage to Hamlin. He's taking it.
Yeah.
I mean, Alex just went the longest way he could possibly go down the front straightaway, and Hamlin shortcutted and took the lead.
So Denny Hamlin back out front. Alex Bowman running second. Then it's Chase Elliott in third. Martin Truex Jr. fourth. Clint Boyer running fifth. I don't think we're surprised by the 11 being up front. We've seen him up front quite often in 2020, but we didn't see him running this well, at least commanding the lead like he has here at Vegas. We didn't see that in round one of these playoffs.
No, didn't run in the top 10 in the first 3 races of the playoffs. But Jeff, you pointed out the only other time that happened in 2020, the 4th race, he went to victory lane. Seems like that's a streak he wants to continue. Much like Alex Bowman, Denny Hamlin doesn't have to want to worry about Talladega or the Roval either. I know he has more points, and perhaps the field would rather have Denny Hamlin win than Alex Bowman because they may think Denny's through on points anyway. Alex Bowman, if he wins, that may send some shockwaves through the playoff field. Like, I wasn't 100% sure if he was going to, move forward or not.
So Denny Hamlin take the lead. Thought it was odd what Alex Bowman did. Comes off turn 4. Hamlin's got to run. Watch what Alex does. He goes all the way to the top of the racetrack. And Hamlin just turns left and just has a run anyway and takes the shortest way on the front straightaway and absolutely clears Alex Bowman.
I bet Denny was just as surprised as we were.
Yeah. I mean, we saw early in the race how much they were blocking and the effort they were doing to not lose position, and Alex kind of just handed to Hamlin.
Now teammates fighting for the second spot. Alex Bowman in the 88. Chase Elliott in the 9. Elliott trying to find a way around Bowman to get up there and fight Hamlin for the lead. NASCAR nonstop. You can get gear for these playoffs. Check out the greatest selection of t-shirts, hats, die-casts, much more for all of your favorite drivers. All you have to do is visit NASCAR.com/shop. And the 9 of Chase Elliott now has caught up with 11 of Denny Hamlin. What can he do with him when he gets to his back bumper again?
Good battle between these two. Denny Hamlin not really running the bottom, kind of run that second lane. Chase Elliott's running the third lane.
A little bit of draft there off the 51 of Joey Gase. Closing the gap again, though. Chase Elliott, you see him fighting that car on the white line.
Yeah, you don't want to give up any time. I mean, we are 181 laps into this race, but we've only seen 3 cautions. A competition caution in stage 1, the end of stage 1, and the end of stage 2. We've yet to have an accident or any other caution on the racetrack. So even though there's a long way to go, 85 laps to go in the race and a pit stop, if you're a driver or a crew chief, I think at this point you're going to have to just assume this is going to run green. It may not, but you want to race like it's going to run green. Dave.
And Steve, that final pit stop will be critical. This crew has been pretty flawless in 2020, but they've lost spots on pit road tonight. They need to gather it back together for what we think is going to be the final stop coming up here, about splitting the stage here, maybe with 50 or 60 laps to go.
Yeah, splitting. Basically, you know, they're just going to make it where they run the even amount of tires on the first set and the second set, come halfway in the middle.
You want to watch somebody that's driving really hard. Watch Chase Elliott in this 9 car. He has got his hands full, making good time. The back of the car is moving around in the middle of the corner. He's doing a good job making it work.
You saw it more when he was down on that white line, that car moving around on him. That time he headed up the track in 3 and 4. We'll see which line he takes here through 1 and 2 down in that first row, first line.
Chase Elliott's run really well in this first round. He has the best average running position of all the drivers. So very, very strong first round. Bringing it to the second round. See the back of the car right there moving around just a little bit. A lot of work in there. You'd like to not be able to do that, not to have to do that, Junior, but I think with these cars and this package, if you can be that loose, I think it's an advantage. I think it keeps the car freed up, makes it go down the straightaway a little better.
He just has to kind of go where the 11 doesn't go. Trying to keep clean air on the nose of the car so he can continue to close that gap. I think Denny's just got a little bit more in his pocket. Probably not showing everything his car has. He's kind of running that middle groove, which is, I think if he was trying to, he could probably find some more speed running a little higher, even running the bottom. I think it also is a bit of a defense to the guy behind you. If you run the middle, he doesn't know if you're going to the bottom or the top. Look at the 9. He has to try to run the bottom, run the top, run the middle. He's moving all over the place trying to go wherever Denny doesn't. Denny's making that choice hard to understand.
Split-second decisions for these drivers as Denny Hamlin continuing to lead. Chase Elliott running in that second spot. Just behind him, though, Alex Bowman holding on to third.
And trying to gather himself back up after losing that lead, and he kind of kicking himself over the radio after opening up the door for the 11 of Denny Hamlin. Have a listen.
Obviously, that was pretty stupid on my part. I'll make up for it here. Hey, focus forward. Doing a great job. We'll get this running. We'll run it back down like we did before. This is all good, man.
So the team trying to keep him positive. His best finisher at Las Vegas was this race a year ago, 6. Marty, he's looking to do better than that tonight.
Kelly, we told you before the race, Kevin Harvick said on these low grip tracks, it's been really hit or miss for us so far this year. Well, so far this evening with 79 to go, it's been a fairly big miss for the 4 team. Listen to some of the radio conversation.
I'll go to the top behind you, starting to come around both ends here. Good drive around the top. As tight as this thing is, if my life depended on it. It's absolutely terrible. It won't even make the freaking corner.
So Kevin Harvick clearly very frustrated sitting in 11th, but he mentioned earlier in the playoffs, hey, these kind of nights when we don't quite hit it, if we rally, that's when we show the championship material we have. They have at least one more stop to make the 4 better, and I would say when it gets cooler, I would expect them to pick up a little bit of speed as well.
Marty mentions it cooler. I wonder, Junior, you and I were just kind of talking. There was a lot of sun out. This race is going so fast, the sun hasn't had time to set.
Yeah, this race is going fast, and 18 car doesn't like the sound of that because
there's a caution.
Yeah, there's a caution.
Free off of 2.
The free caution.
The free pass position is going to be Jimmy Johnson, it looks like, as far as the scoring monitor here. Logano was a spot behind Jimmy Johnson, so Logano still not getting his lap back. And Steve, 77 laps to go. They're outside of the fuel window, so they can't get all the way to the end.
I was going to say this is a great opportunity for Kyle Busch with his caution. He's -7 right now at the cut line, having to come down pit road and repair all that damage, and drove up to 14th. Was kind of stuck there behind John Hunter Nemechek. So if this race continued to go green, it's really going to be a great night for him. But this caution is going to be an opportunity to get him back into the fight.
Also good break for the 17 of Buescher, the 6 of Newman, the 32 of Corey LaJoie. We had mentioned that they took the wave around, so they were getting closer to pit stops. This caution kind of saved them from coming in, so now they're all on the lead lap.
There you see the 9 team getting ready.
Somebody that's having a nice rebound too, guys. We haven't said much about him lately. Is Brad Keselowski. Remember, he had that trouble early in the race, bottoming out on the splitter really, really hard. They've kept working on that car, and Brad's up to 9th place. So clawing and fighting his way back toward the front.
Well, we have 76 laps to go here in Las Vegas. It was Las Vegas a week ago for the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, but this week on Tuesday night, 9 p.m., Talladega, the final race of the regular season. They will set their playoff field of 8 drivers. eNASCAR.com for all of the complete coverage. Parker Kligerman and myself will be help calling this race. They're going to get the pressure of super speedway racing with the playoffs on the line, Rick. It's going to be fun. 9 o'clock on Tuesday.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's a lot of fun to watch those guys. I've been sim racing since the mid-90s, and I wish I was as good as those guys are. They're amazing.
So the caution was for debris on the racetrack. And with as many grooves that as you run around this track, pretty much anything on the track is in the groove. As the field making their way to pit road, we'll start with Kelly.
And Alex Bowman in the 88 car really hasn't had much to say, and that's because his car's been really good. He says it's just a little bit free, but he still feels like it's going to come around to him, so not asking for any changes. He's just going to get some fresh Goodyear rubber for him and Sunoco fuel, Marty.
Chase Elliott, middle of the screen, noticing that the cooling temperatures are gaining grip in the racetrack, but the car is still not freeing up, so they'll make a little bit of an air pressure adjustment here. 4 tires of fuel, Marty.
Dave pitting with 75 to go, just outside the window to make it to the end of the race. Denny Hamlin said, my car is pretty good. I'm just a little bit too tight. I can't finish the corner like I would like. Hamlin will hold serve here on pit road and keep the lead, but his teammate Martin Truex Jr., how about that stop by the 19 bunch? +3, Rick.
Yeah, and once again, Chase Elliott's crew letting him down. Loses 2 spots on pit road, so a difficult pit road tonight for Chase Elliott. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Perfect for race fans. Ford. Built Ford proud. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. And by South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa, where the racers stay in Las Vegas. And a penalty for the 3 team. Safety violation for the team on pit road. So they will have to restart at the back of the field. So big news week in NASCAR. And topping that was the Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin announcement that they will have a new Cup team. And Bubba Wallace will be their driver in 2021. Day before, it was Ross Chastain who announced that he will be driving for Chip Ganassi Racing in the 42 Chevrolet next season. And of course, Hendrick Motorsports, we mentioned, was fined $100,000 for exceeding the wind tunnel test time. They're also docked 10 hours of test time for next year. So Michael Jordan, he and Denny Hamlin have been friends for a long time. He talked about how he watches all of the races. Well, he's also mentioned they're coming in to win. Michael Jordan on forming a new team.
This kind of presented itself within the last couple of weeks. I did have conversations with Brad Daugherty, about stock car racing and, things that he had interest in. I knew Larry Nance was in drag racing, for some time. So, the appetite has been there, but the opportunity's never been there. This is a great opportunity, and I just feel like this is a good time to make this thing happen.
So there's the timing we mentioned earlier. Would it affect Denny Hamlin? Well, so far it hasn't here in this race, at least. He has been very impressive. But bringing Michael Jordan into NASCAR, probably one of the biggest things that happened in this sport in decades.
Yeah, super pumped to hear this announcement. Arguably the most recognizable athlete in all of sports worldwide. Michael Jordan, Jumpman, everybody knows Michael. Right. So to him, get into the foray of NASCAR ownership with Denny Hamlin, I think that's a little bit lost on this. Denny Hamlin reinvesting in the sport that he's made his entire career in. So with Michael Jordan, the two of them, and then we have Bubba Wallace driving for him. So Brad, he said he talked to you on the phone. You're a NASCAR owner. It's going to be exciting to see a fellow NBA player join the foray here in ownership.
Yeah, absolutely. What an exciting time for the entire sport. Like I said, when you have someone like Michael Jordan and his brand coming into NASCAR and the ownership side, we talked about the diversity piece earlier, but I also mentioned it's great to have new ownership, new blood. And so I'm excited for Michael, look forward to helping him any way I can, and I look forward to watching those guys compete next year.
Brad, don't lie, you're looking forward to beat him. Right, you want to beat him and rub it in. I know how competitive. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely, kick his butt. I owe him big.
Well, and it's big for the sport. Brad mentioned it there. Brad actually a minority owner, one of the first black minority owners in NASCAR. Remember back to Wendell Scott. Michael Jordan will be the first majority owner since Wendell Scott in NASCAR. So big things happening for that team and NASCAR. As we get ready for the restart, Denny Hamlin on the high side, Martin Truex Jr. on the low side. Green flag back in the air. Two JGR cars fighting it out up front for the lead.
Where's the push going to come from behind? Who is going to get the most help? Oh, Chase Elliott to the middle.
4 wide. Matt DiBenedetto to the inside, made it 4 wide as they go into 3.
How about Matty D? He's not in the playoffs, but he's going to come try to win this race.
Well, remember, he's auditioning. We talked about how his contract, he still has to get that approved for an extension on his contract this month. So he's out there fighting for a job.
We're further back, Chase. You can see Chase Elliott continue to lose some spots.
Thought I saw some smoke out of the left rear of the 95 that time through the corner. We'll see how that continues.
Yeah, Chase Elliott right here. A winning car all race long. Struggling in that bottom groove.
And he's lost all of the advantage from being up front. Now he has so many cars in front of him. His car is going to drive worse right now than it has all night.
A lot more on throttle time. As the whole track's in the shade now, it'll be harder to get around these guys.
And And he's got to learn how to drive the car. It drives so different back here. Things he was doing before aren't going to work. He's going to have to change what he was doing in order to make it work back here. Aerodynamically, it's just so different. The dirty air is such a change.
Up front, nose to tail, the top 5, Hamlin, DiBenedetto, Bowman, Truex Jr., and Blaney.
I know you covered it, but that penalty for Austin Dillon all the way back in the 24th position, just a huge, huge issue for the 3 who had such a great run going right in the top 10 all day.
Yeah, he basically went from around +10 to -10 at the cut line.
And remember, he got 10 stage points, so that's counting the fact that he had 10 stage points.
He's trying to gain as many spots as he possibly can, hoping for a yellow.
It shows you how important putting the whole race together is. He actually has the 4th most stage points tonight.
Here comes the 88 of Bowman, working on DiBenedetto. Bowman trying to get that 2nd spot. Fighting with the car on the inside.
Matt's going to try to stay out there, right on the door, down the front straightaway. Matt tries to get away from him. Alex goes up the racetrack, the side draft, bringing the 19 and 12 of Blaney into this battle. They're going to go side by side in turn 1 and 2. Alex is going to get that spot, get a little shove right there. Up to the 11 car. See if Alex can drive up there and catch Denny.
Blaney running right along the white line. Up behind the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. So it's Denny Hamlin. Now Alex Bowman in 2nd. Matt DiBenedetto is 3rd. Martin Truex Jr., Ryan Blaney, the top 5. And these 5 have pulled away from the competition.
Bowman doing a good job closing the gap on our leader. Denny Hamlin side by side for 3rd. Truex going around Matthew.
Truex did a really nice job in 1 and 2. Just went to the middle of the racetrack, got some momentum. Matt saw it coming, didn't put up a huge fight. Oh, big piece of debris right there, yeah. Did it get on Blaney's car?
I don't think so. Somebody back there got it.
Matt taking that position back on the bottom of the racetrack.
I think it is on the right side, right corner there, maybe of that 12 car. But surprised for Benedetto to get that spot back. Truex, big moment right there. Kelly, you got more on the 21?
Yeah, kind of going the wrong direction right now. He's had a race car that was a little bit too tight, so they tried to free it up in his last trip down pit road. But when I talked to Matt before the race, he said, obviously it's disappointing that we had such a terrible showing in round 1 of the playoffs, but now that we're out, he said it's almost a little bit freeing. We don't have to worry about a cut line or playoff points anymore. We can just go out there and do our own thing and go for the win. And remember, if they were to get a win, it would be Matt DiBenedetto's first career Cup win and win number 100 for Wood Brothers Racing.
Denny Hamlin right now has the 88 of Alex Bowman in his mirror. The top 2 playoff drivers. We go NASCAR nonstop. 58 laps remaining in the NASCAR Cup Series playoff race from Las Vegas to South Point 400. Tonight's aerial coverage brought to you by Geico. We look down on race leader Denny Hamlin holding off Alex Bowman. Matt DiBenedetto is in third. Martin Truex Jr. in fourth. And Chase Elliott is holding on to that fifth spot now. He was able to get by Ryan Blaney. William Byron is seventh. Brad Keselowski in the eighth spot. Eric Jones is ninth, and 10th is Clint Boyer.
A name you didn't mention, Austin Dillon, had run in the top 10 all day long, currently in the 20th position after a penalty on pit road. NASCAR labels it as a safety violation. What it actually is basically a crew member from behind pit wall touching the front end of pit wall. So look right here at the left front fender of the three of Austin Dillon. As they bring the tires around, watch the crew member from behind pit wall. He's going to lose his balance trying to catch that. Tire falls over when he lands on pit wall with his right foot right there. That is a penalty, Dave, for the three. He went all the way to the back, but I hear that he might have made an extra trip down pit road.
He did, and spotter Brandon Benesh reminded him we do our best work when we're behind. Started at the rear in Darlington, had a problem mid-race, finished second. At Richmond, speeding and finished fourth. At Bristol, that bizarre wreck when Kevin Harvick was getting to pit road and finished 12th. So they came down pit road, topped off the fuel, and restarted with 71 laps to go. Steve, we've seen the Richard Childress Racing bunch in the Xfinity Series stretch a long way. The Cup guys have that chance here?
Well, 3 laps better. I think they're still a few laps short, but Jeff, you know, it's just giving yourself an opportunity. You were going to start at the back anyway. Why not have a little more fuel in the car?
Yeah, well, let's say he's 2 laps short. Let's say that he's in that position. That means other people are probably 4 laps short. So it's much easier for Austin Dillon to try to save 2 laps to try to steal the win. It's got a problem. Yeah, steam coming out of the right at the base of the windshield.
Steering's locking up. I can't steer it. Tim's climbing like hell.
All right, Tim's climbing power steering off belts. The belts have been kicked off the front of this car, would be my guess. He has no power steering because the power steering pump's off. The thing's overheating. Probably the water pump belt's missing off this car. That's why it's running hot. There's no debris on the grill. That tells me that either debris, something's bent, broken. Yeah. The belts are missing off the 3 of Austin Dillon. Next to impossible to put these on any sort of short time frame. It is repairable if he hasn't done terminal engine damage, but it's not going to matter with 53 to go. Points are getting dumped out like water out of the 3 car. Losing points for everybody in the playoffs, Dave.
Just when you think it's going well, Steve,
333.
This is how racing can take its ugly turn. He brings it to pit road now, and they'll go under the hood to see if indeed the belts are off there. Such a strong race car as it has been all playoffs long for Austin Dillon. And yep, you can see a crew member there has a belt in hand. This will be a hot change, Steve.
Yeah, so right now, shut it off. He said, so as long as the oil pump stayed on, you could put a water pump belt on, not easily, but it can be done. You might have to loosen the pulleys, but you might have to add water as well. We saw it push so much fluid out. Unfortunate for the 3. This is going to be basically the end of the night. They might get it repaired, but I mean, no one's out of the race. We've had no accidents. He's going to finish definitely outside the top 30.
How disappointing. This team has brought speed to these playoffs. They've done a great job. And if a piece of debris came up and knocked the belt off, if that is what happened, there's absolutely nothing you can do about that. That is just bad luck.
So you see those hoses right there, Rick. They can actually recirculate the water, so it'll add water to the system.
It's important there for Austin to get that car down pit road quick enough. If there was any chance of this not being terminal, you got to get on pit road. You cannot be in denial. You have to accept it, get on pit road, and hopefully they can get some water. And I don't think it's going to help them, Steve.
Well, I was going to say.
You never know.
You don't. You could have an accident. It's a great point at 50 to go. You have to continue to battle. But the way the points work, as you see Martin Truex Jr., a big move on the outside of Matt DiBenedetto with the 21 for the 3rd position. The way the points work, Rick, everyone from 35th on back gets the same amount of points, just 1 point. So,
well, the 10 stage points that he was able to gain by finishing in the top 10 in both of the 2 stages are going to help him, but that only is a band-aid on what's actually happening right now. He's losing a lot of points right here sitting on pit road.
What makes it so heartbreaking is the team, the engineers, the driver, the pit crew, they showed up, guys. They did what they were needing to do. They ran in the top 10 again. I know they had that penalty. Those things are going to have to happen, and it's definitely in a bad position, but this is going to be a long repair for the 3. And as we do that, we see Hamlin continue to lead Bowman and Truex in the top 3.
We've seen great success also out of the 3 super speedways. So Austin Dillon has that also to look forward to at Talladega next week. Dave.
Nice strong run for Ryan Blaney, eliminated from the playoffs after last week's run at Bristol. 6th place right now, and even though the car has gone a little bit to the loose side here, he's had a strong night. Last time down pit road, no chassis changes to the car, just fresh tires to get and fuel to get him close to the end, Marty. We're not going to quite be able to make it.
Hey, Dave, very unique to note that 4 of the top 10 drivers are non-playoff drivers, including William Byron in 8th right now. Talking to Chad Knaus, he said, listen, my biggest goal, in or out of the playoffs, building momentum. We haven't been able to string together 3 straight good races this year. That's what I want to do the rest of this year. Right now, William Byron holding up his end of the bargain after being knocked out of the playoffs last week at Bristol, currently running 8th, Rick.
Yeah, great point, Marty. William Byron up there in 8th. Eric Jones, Ryan Blaney, Matt DiBenedetto, all inside that top 8 non-playoff drivers now. Denny Hamlin up front, leading still here in Vegas. Well, the final jewel of the 2020 Triple Crown is the 145th Preakness Stakes from Pimlico Racecourse in Baltimore. Well, that's Saturday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern on NBC. All right, let's take a lap around this racetrack, and there's so many different options that these drivers have to choose from. So let's have our drivers tell us a little bit about what they're doing. For example, Ryan Newman here, Junior.
Yeah, we're going to ride with Ryan. Awesome to have him out there competing after everything he's been through this year. A little bit loose off the wall. He is definitely working his steering wheel down in the bottom of the corner. Seems pretty comfortable in corner exit though. Pretty relaxed down the straightaway. Taking his hand off the wheel. Getting ready for the corner. Brings it back on there, down and through the bumps into turn 1. Can't get quite all the way to the bottom. Or just doesn't seem to have the speed tonight that he was hoping for. And big arc into turn 3. Doesn't look like it handles too terribly. Just riding along, trying to make the best of a bad situation. Chase down Matt Kenseth up there in front of him. He's going to try the high side down here in 1 and 2.
Yeah, Ryan back in 23rd. Obviously wanting a little more than that. That's difficult when you're running back in 23rd, trying to muster up your energy, your enthusiasm. We know Ryan Newman will never quit, though. It's not in his makeup. Really interesting to me how you watch these drivers. All of them have a different stance inside the car. Some sit real close to the wheel, some have it further apart, away from them. See a little bit of wheel movement for Ryan as he's trying to just get his car to do what he wants it to do. Here he's not out of the gas much at all, but just doesn't have the pace he needs, even though he is in the gas a fair amount. Others are in the gas more. Look at that wheel movement. Just not the rear grip Ryan needs. Simply watch the steering wheel, having to use the wheel, turning it back to the right. This does not have the comfort level in the car to be able to be back in the gas sooner.
He lays his head on the headrest the entire lap. Never even moves. I remember when they didn't have headrest. 18 car coming to pit road.
And with 36 laps to go, I think this is a scheduled stop for all the leaders. You see the 4 of Kevin Harvick in front of him. If you can't make it on fuel, you know you have to pit. That's really the question, Rick. Do you split it up in the middle, put as much time on fresh tires as possible, or run to the end and have a short splash and go? These teams, Marty, opting for fresh tires halfway through the run.
Yeah, the call by Adam Stevens and Rodney Childers to come here. They're kind of in the back half of the top 10. So the theory with 36 to go, as you mentioned, Steve, get that fresh Goodyear rubber on now. See if you can gain some track time. Kyle Busch said he was running the top of the track, felt like he was hurting the right front. Harvick said the car was better, but still too tight, Kelly.
Alex Bowman in the 88 comes to pit road. He felt like he was a little bit too free, needed more security to run up high, but they're still convinced this track is going to come around as the temperatures go down, Marty.
Martin Truex Jr. coming down pit road has run that much of that run in the 4th position. Said the car was too tight for him. Going to be 4 fresh Goodyear tires and an air pressure adjustment trying to free him up. 35 to go. What might be the last stop here of the night in Vegas. Also coming down pit road, Denny Hamlin, who's been very happy with the race car, said it's just a little bit tight, but the one point he made, he said, more than any point during this evening, the racetrack is taking rubber. So he told Chris Gabehart, I think it's going to be very tight at the end of this run. They were 7 laps short from making it to the end, but pitting here with 34 to go, Dave.
Marty, Chase Elliott wanted to come down the last lap, could not quite make the turn to pit road. Decided to take it around one more time. He'll get 4 tires and just enough fuel to get to the end.
It's going to be very important for Denny Hamlin. He came a lap later than the 88 of Alex Bowman. Alex was only 1 second behind him on the racetrack. Will the pit stop be efficient enough and fast enough, or will the 88 make up enough time? We're going to see right here. This is Hamlin leaving. That right there, the white and orange 88. We will see if the pass will happen. He's going to have a lot of momentum heading into turn 3.
Hamlin staying on the bottom of the racetrack, and Bowman going to go right on by.
There you go. That could be the race for the lead, all because the 88 was good on pit road, and Greg Ives with a big call, bringing his driver in first. 33 laps to go. They're not the leader of the race. Currently, others have to pit, but when it all cycles out, assuming everyone pits, we have no fuel strategy, that is going to be a big pass. The left rear tire, is it shaking, or is it just my imagination on that?
It's your
car?
imagination.
Debris.
There is trouble for the 48, but caution has come out. The 48 is going to go back out. You saw smoke coming out when he turned back onto the track. There's the debris on the racetrack.
Man, there's
He's
debris.
got a right rear tire coming apart on that car.
Oh, man, it has. I thought the left rear was shaking. I think the whole car was shaking with that flat tire.
You see it's coming apart right here. What question is, who is this caution a big advantage for? I'd say Kurt Busch.
Oh, I have a list, and
yes.
the names are going to shock you. Kurt Busch, Bell, Buescher, John Hunter, Nemechek, McDowell, Kenseth, they all get free pit stops.
This is going to shake this field up big time.
Same thing happened here in February with the late yellow that really threw the strategy all over the place.
Steve, because Alex Bowman, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., they were just on pit road, maybe 1 lap before this caution came out. Will that affect them?
So they'll stay out and take the wave around with all the lead lap cars pit. So that is an advantage. We're going to actually have to find out. Matt DiBenedetto might have been on pit road. We have to see how he gets scored because that can mess the whole thing up. But I think what's going to happen is all of the cars who have yet to pit, they are the lead lap cars. They will come to pit road. Then the drivers you mentioned, the Bowmans, the Hamlins, they're going to stay on the racetrack, wave around and get their lap back. The difference is they're going to line up, middle of the pack or back, where Kurt Busch here, he could come down, get service, and rejoin the racetrack as the leader. So you talk about a good break at a great time and perhaps the biggest race of the playoffs other than Phoenix. Has this race just fallen in Kurt Busch's lap? This could be a huge change of events, Kelly.
And so now you see those cars that had yet to come to pit road do just that, including the Ricky there, Christopher Bell at the top of your screen. Haven't heard him say much about his race car, but you see the wrench go in and they make an adjustment along with the 4 tires, Dave.
Chris Buescher gives up 30. Said the 17 car gets a little bit tight late in the run, but probably, let's just leave it alone. 4 tires of fuel, Marty.
Dave, what a call for Matt McCall, who is committed to that long-run strategy for Kurt Busch and the team. He said chassis-wise, a little too tight overall, but he liked it. So Kurt is the only playoff driver who got the caution to come out when he needed it there, and now in a very good position to turn what had been really a top 15 car, and that's it, into what could be a top 5 car tonight.
So the race off pit road is won by Kurt Busch, but now we'll find out who stayed out on the racetrack and how will the wave arounds affect this next restart. That's coming up.
That's not a bad call.
Why is this race so important? Because of the next race. Talladega is next Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern on NBC. You don't want to miss it. Right in the middle of this round of 12, and of course, Charlotte Roval following that. So you know that everyone is hoping that this race right here, Las Vegas, is a great race for them because they know Talladega is looming. Here's the remaining schedule.
Yeah, if you didn't think the last 28 laps here are important, how about Talladega and the Roval to try to continue in the playoffs?
Kansas, Texas, Martinsville. Remember Martinsville, and now is a cutoff race.
I remember when we ran Martinsville at night for the first time, and I told everybody, I said, if they could bottle that up and sell it, we'd have the best sport going, the best thing going in ever in NASCAR. And now it's a night race and a cutoff race.
Yeah, for the championship 4. To determine who the 4 drivers are that will advance for that fight in Phoenix.
It's not going to be pretty there, but it'll be awesome to watch.
Okay, Steve, explain what's going to happen here. We know that there's going to be wave-around cars that are going to go by the pace car here.
All right, so there will be a test. So make sure you
Okay, I'm writing it down.
Okay, here you go. Let's start with the 21 of Matt DiBenedetto. He hit the jackpot because he was on pit road when the track went from green to yellow. He was on pit road legally. He beat the pace car off in pit road, so therefore he stayed on the lead lap because the rest of the field slowed down. Matt DiBenedetto didn't have to pit under this caution, therefore he will be the leader of the race when this race restarts. Behind him, you're going to have Kurt Busch, John Hunter Nemechek, Buescher, Bell, the group of cars that we saw come to pit road. They're the second luckiest cars in Las Vegas because they had yet to make their pit stop. So they basically get all this track position. Great break for them. All right, so you have Matty D, the luckiest. This group, the next luckiest. The next guy is all the way back to the 88 of Alex Bowman. He was the first car one lap down. So under this yellow, he came down and get a set of tires because regardless, he's going to line up behind all the lead lap cars, behind all the lap down cars. Then you're going to have the 88 of Alex Bowman. Now behind him on this restart, who have yet to wave around, is going to be Denny Hamlin and all the leaders we've seen all day long who pitted under green. They're just going to wave around when we get to one to go. So I hope you took notes, Rick, because when you come to one to go, you got to give that all back.
I'll give you a shorter version. Matt DiBenedetto's leading.
Leading and lucky. And you know what?
And looking for win number 100 for the Wood brothers.
Well, I would say, I tell you who I think is extremely lucky in this is Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch has not been running great all night long. He's going to be sitting there in second place. And a lot of cars between he and the other cars that are in the playoffs. So he has a chance to steal a ton of points right here tonight. So here we go. You just saw all the wave rounds go by. That's right. They just took the wave around, so they passed the pace car. They're going to go all the way back around the racetrack and line up behind the cars that did not take the wave around.
And now, I mean, you see all these cars right here. This is where, I love the choose rule, but this is where it gets complicated because remember when the leaders get here, they still have to choose. So these guys are going to get caught back up and get lined up. Man.
And again, the drivers that are taking the wave around right now, maybe 2-3 laps max on their tires before that caution came out, but it's all the track position that they lost by having to come back and start at the rear of the
That's
field.
right, Rick. They're going to start behind lap down cars as well. So when you say, why is my driver way back there? He's a lap down. Or excuse me, he's on the lead lap. If you get that free wave around by the pace car, you don't get to pull all the way back up. So let's see which lane Matt DiBenedetto chooses. Kurt Busch. We talked about Matty D going for 100 for the Wood brothers. Well, Kurt Busch, I mean, he's only 5 points above the cut line if he could win in his hometown, a track where he's statistically, this is his worst track that they run.
I'm going to be watching John Hunter Nemechek on this restart. He doesn't need any pumping up, but I bet his team is telling him on the radio that he is a legit shot to win this race. I mean, he's been racing around Kurt Busch for the last several 80, 100 laps. He's got that kind of speed.
So the field working 2 by 2 now, and as Steve told you how everyone will line up.
So you see all of the cars, and then you see the 88 of Alex Bowman warming his tires up. So the one advantage they have is there's very few cars a lap down. Denny Hamlin back there, Blaney. We've showed you these wide, crazy 2, 3, 4 wide restarts. This one is going to be even crazier because now the cars that have showed the pace, Rick, they have 26 laps. They're going to be forced to make moves that are the most uncomfortable to make. You have to score points, but guys, you just cannot sit back there.
So check this out. Look at the one car on the inside of row 1. Look at all of the cars between he and the next car in the playoffs. Alex Bowman in the outside lane. Look at those cars. It's only going to be 24 to go when they drop the green flag. This is an opportunity, a huge opportunity for that one car to go make something happen.
4 of the top 6 right here have never won a cup race. And we're getting ready for the restart. There'll be 25 laps to go from Las Vegas. Matt DiBenedetto, Kurt Busch, firing off.
Look at him back there. All of them looking for an advantage. Fanning out. 3 and 4 wide.
4 wide through 1.
Alex Bowman on the high side getting a push from Denny Hamlin back there. 4 wide off of 2.
I'm going to tell you, the driver that did the best job of getting through that is that 12 car on the outside lane. Oh, he got bottled up right there. Truex is going to get underneath him.
Look at Hamlin through the middle in the 11. Still a fight for the lead. DiBenedetto right on the outside door of the 1 of Kurt Busch. While these two are side by side, here comes the 17.
That push from the 17 cleared Kurt. Now he's got a set sail.
A little bit of tire rub coming out from the 95.
Yeah, he's had that on a few restarts. I'm not too concerned.
Guys, this is such an opportunity for Kurt Busch. Can he execute on it?
Kurt Busch mentioned how this would be a very weird trip back to Las Vegas. He was going to come back with his little brother, Kyle. They were going to ride together on the plane. He said, but I can't really go and see the family much. We're going to come in. We're going to head back out right after the race. Now, I wonder if his little brother will wait on him if he has to collect that trophy.
Ryan Newman worked a three-ride pass on the outside of his teammate and Matt Kenseth, and now he's up on the back bumper of John Hunter Nemechek. We were talking about Ryan not having a great night, not having much speed. You can see the leader right there. Got to be excited. Get up there and mix it up.
After 4 laps, how much ground has been gained? Alex Bowman is a 1.5 seconds back. Chase Elliott over 2 seconds back.
Benedetto's got a little more speed in that one car last lap or two. He's had that speed all night long over Kurt. Here he goes to the bottom, almost to the quarter panel there.
DiBenedetto was second in this race in the spring. And now running second behind Vegas native Kurt Busch out front.
20 laps to go.
Kelly.
Well, just before the restart, Matt DiBenedetto's team kind of reminded him what was at stake here for Kurt Busch. They said, look, he obviously wants to win, but he's got a points race too. We have got nothing to lose. As I mentioned, going for Wood Brothers' 100th Cup Series win, but it would be a career first for Matt DiBenedetto, who is still waiting to find out whether or not he sticks with this team in 2021, Marty.
Kelly, 20 to go, and imagine what this would mean for Kurt Busch. Not only the playoff implications, but this is the racetrack where it all started for him. The Las Vegas native was very clear this week. This is a racetrack I've always struggled at. I've taken the pressure of family and friends, visiting them, and I've never been able to put it all together here. He currently is leading with 19 to go and 7 cars between him and the next playoff driver, Alex Bowman. This night for Kurt Busch couldn't have worked out any better, especially if he can hang on for 19 more laps.
There you see that battle on the bottom. Bowman trying to work his way through, but he's got Blaney in front of him now who has good pace. Blaney's going to try to drive up through there. He's the guy, I think, sitting in better position than Bowman to clear all these guys and get the win. He's got a long way to go there to catch up to this 21 and this 1 car leading this race, but
this battle for the lead. Think about this. Kurt Busch.
Whoa,
Bowman as they spin right in front of the 38. John Hunter Nemechek spins. The caution comes out. Up the racetrack he goes. There was contact up against the wall. Cars trying to avoid.
It looked like Ricky Stenhouse Jr. got sandwiched by another car.
Eric Jones, I think.
Oh, yeah. Heavy damage on the 47.
Oh, that is not the caution Kurt Busch.
Go to the bottom here. A lot of smoke. Get on the apron.
you have to imagine the 38 had a flat tire getting off into turn 3. For him to spin like that onto the apron.
So another restart. And Steve, tell me who benefits from this one.
Joey Logano. All day he has rode around since that damage, 1 lap down. A lot of different opportunities for Joey Logano, but he's finally going to get the waiver, or the free pass. He's going to get back on the lead lap. What's that matter is just points, right? I don't know where he's going to finish. I don't think he's going to come up and win the race, but get back on the lead lap. He's currently 25th. Any position he gains is going to continue to fill that bucket up. If you look at the points, he's only plus 11. So even in this position, he was above the cut line. This will help him.
All right, let's take a look at what happened. There's John Hunter Nemechek, and sliding back up the racetrack there Eric Jones got into the 47, who got into the wall.
That was really scary right here when he came back up the racetrack, and nowhere for Eric Jones to go. Squeezes Stenhouse Jr. in the wall.
Come on up, outside, clear. Caution's out.
You know, when John Hunter Nemechek started back up the racetrack, he closed his eyes and held on tight, knowing cars are coming that quickly.
Work being done on the 47. Not as much damage as we thought there to that right side.
No, I think it's repairable. A little bit of tire smoke perhaps from that left front or the right front getting sandwiched in there. Now it's decision time, and there is 24 cars, 25 in the lead lap with Joey Logano gets back on the lead lap. The question is, what's more important, track position or tires? I mean, we saw Kurt Busch, the 21, Bell, Newman, Buescher, they all held that track position when they were fortunate enough to get it because of that cycle. Are they willing to gamble now by giving it up to come get tires? And if they do, does Alex Bowman, does maybe Chase Elliott, Kevin Harvick, do one of these other cars say, know what, I'm going to go to the front, I'm going to try to protect, even though tires have had value and speed? I just don't know. I mean, track position seems so important. It's going to be hard to pit if you're the one of the 21 guys. I think someone's going to pit. When you look at Hamlin, Harvick, Keselowski back there outside the top 10, they may bring some behind them. Let's see where the cut line is. Who comes to pit road, who doesn't? No takers, no takers. Track position's key. There you go.
Denny
Hamlin, Harvick, and they pull everyone behind them in on the lead lap.
So he was 11th, and he comes to pit road to get fresh tires. Kelly.
And so you see Brad Keselowski in that 2 car among those taking advantage of this caution to get some fresh Goodyear tires. I also see a splash of Sunoco fuel going in there for Keselowski, Marty.
Chris Gabehart trusting his veteran driver, Denny Hamlin. He left this call up to him. You see what they do there, leaving pit road. Kevin Harvick further up pit road. Gabehart told Hamlin, if you can get a good restart, stay. If you feel like you need help, come down pit road. Hamlin came down pit road and brought everybody behind him down pit road as well.
I like the call by the driver of the 11. He wasn't going anywhere with the same tire, stuck in traffic, get an advantage. Come get 4 fresh Goodyears.
Gambling in Vegas. Coming up on 13 laps to go. The NASCAR Cup Series playoffs from Las Vegas, the South Point 400. Right after the race, make sure to hang around for NASCAR America post-race show. Followed by IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship from Mid-Ohio. Want to take a look at the Toyota driver update. Christopher Bell in that Ream number 95, currently running in the 3rd position, the rookie. All right, the sun has set, and Brad, it's cooled off a little bit. I'm sure that you've enjoyed this one from your perch above pit road.
Rick, it's been great. And Kurt Busch, man, it was Katie bar to door, but now I saw that 11 car, I saw the 18, I saw Truex. They all came down, got 2 tires. Oh my goodness, hang on, mama. This restart is going to be unbelievable. We're getting ready to go racing here in just a second. It's going to be good.
Yeah, we saw 4 wide. It's probably going to be 5 wide. So strap in, Brad, because it's going to be a fun one.
And so on the left side of your screen, 13 to go. We'll take the green. With 12 to go, there's a line you really need to pay attention to. It's down here between Bowyer and Hamlin, right there. Old tires down to 12th. Hamlin in 13th has new tires, and everyone behind him has new tires. Will the tires matter? Can they get through traffic? And will we see more yellows? That's a prop bet, Jake. We're in Vegas. You got to decide.
15 lap different tires. 15 laps is a lot, right, Steve?
I'm sorry?
15 laps is a lot, right? As far as difference in tires?
Well, it's 8 green, and we've seen about a second fall off in 20. So there's definitely going to be more grip. The question, though, is we just heard him say that the sun's down. Brad said it was cooling, ready to go. So we'll see if it is as big of an advantage as it was earlier in the race.
Coming up on 12 laps to go from Vegas. Kurt Busch on the outside. Matt DiBenedetto on the inside. Back up through the gears they go.
Kurt Busch with an incredible launch. Look how he absolutely cleared Matty D before he got to turn 1. Great job by Kurt.
3 wide behind him.
Alex Bowman up to 5th place down this back straightaway. Got a chance to go into the middle here.
Blaney getting a big push in that 3rd row.
Oh, they're going to stall out. 3 wide for 3rd place. Blaney's going to go to the top here. No, Blaney's going to push this 6 car of Newman down the front straightaway.
Newman and Bowman fighting for that 3rd spot. Bowman on the bottom of the track. Newman up high. Ryan Blaney in the 12, right in the middle.
Did Bowman clear Newman? Yes.
Here comes Blaney. The 12 making the move on the inside of Newman. We mentioned how quick Blaney has been. Does he have enough time to get up front?
I think Alex Bowman's looking really good right here.
Also the 11 coming on. Those fresher tires. Down to the bottom of the racetrack he goes.
Bowman trying to go to the high side there, trying to create momentum, but the 21 did the same thing, and look at him. He's got an opportunity to fill the mirror of that 1 car of Kurt Busch into turn 3. Again, DiBenedetto to the middle of the racetrack, trying to get a little bit of air on that right side headlight, help that car turn.
Kurt Busch, over 40 years old, 31 wins, tons of experience. That guy is going to be hard to pass here tonight. He knows what to do with his race car. The question is, does he have as much speed as Alex Bowman?
Well, there's a lot of hunger back behind him. And
off
the wall.
I bet that 11.
Christopher Bell in the 95. Keselowski gets by him.
Yeah, that was a hard lick. Guys, that 11 car has moved up to 5th place. Right there.
And has a car good enough to run up the racetrack. Look what kind of momentum it gives you. He's going to try to get to the outside of Ryan Blaney right here. 8 laps to go. I believe Hamlin has time if he can keep his momentum up. Doesn't get stalled out. He goes to the bottom of the racetrack.
Trying to get by the 12. 21 up the racetrack. DiBenedetto holding on to 2nd. Bowman is 3rd. The fight for 4th is on.
He's got to be able to clear Blaney quickly right here. Blaney's on that door trying to keep him from going by. That's what Kurt Busch needs
on the racetrack. That fight continuing. Denny Hamlin.
Denny trying to side draft. He's going to be able to help him clear right here. He's going to be clear of that 12 car. Oh, we got to spin the 24. William Byron down the front straightaway. Big contact with the right front headlight. Oh, the right side. He's gotten in the fence.
Yeah, right front flat, heavy damage. You mentioned the right front fender.
And another restart.
Oh, and Kurt Busch is just
a little bit of right front damage.
Big damage on the 32 of Corey LaJoie. It's too bad. LaJoie was one of the beneficiaries of that pit cycle. Gave him a lot of track position. Was looking for a good run in the 32 car.
This is the caution that Denny Hamlin needed. I didn't know if he had enough laps to get by all of those guys, even with the speed he had.
This becomes a sprint now, though, guys. Well, unless a red flag comes out, this is going to end up being maybe 2 laps.
Yeah, it's going to be a short run for sure. Let's take a look at what happened right here. You see him. Oh,
95 car had hit the wall, really. Remember, on the back straightaway, the 95 had hit the wall. Right there, the 95 loses a tire, jumps out of the gas. Right there, the right front's down, and he gets out of the gas. The 24 doesn't know what's going on, runs in the back of him.
That's just unfortunate for the 24. We started Bristol. You know, same thing, kind of eliminated.
32 also was.
by himself.
He was the one who got involved trying to avoid.
Front end 10 coming with a push out back. He's sending your mirrors inside here.
Further back, you can see John Hunter Nemechek had to make an evasive move to keep from making contact, and that took Corey LaJoie out.
They're going to work on the 95. There's Corey LaJoie in the 32.
And you mentioned it, Rick. It is going to be a sprint. Choose cone. You got to decide which lane you want to line up in. So many points available.
Who's behind you? Who's pushing? Who's not pushing?
It's too much.
I was having sensory overload on that restart. I didn't know where I wanted to watch.
Yeah.
The 21 was so close to the 1. The 88 had movement. The 11 was coming up through traffic.
This is another good break for Joey Logano, who needed track position, needed positions, needed opportunity. He's going to get another chance at grabbing a few more spots as he's back on the lead lap here. And plus 13 at the cut line. He'd love to add a few more positions to that.
We'll have to keep an eye on the 14. I'm getting reports that he's running hot. He was pushing water earlier. We don't see any water coming out of it now. I mean, it looks okay, but the report is it's running warm. We'll have to just keep an eye on it. And he's running currently 14th, and at minus 18, can't afford to give up any more points. Needs to try to nurse this forward to the finish.
Yeah, under caution, maybe he could cycle the engine to get some temp out of it.
Yeah, great point. Great point.
Marty.
Yeah, Rick, they've had a tough time with this heating issue on Clint Boyer's car all day long. Twice they've had debris on it. He also made contact with the 32 car of Corey LaJoie earlier in the race and kind of caved in the right front a little bit there. The damage you can't quite see there, but they have had an issue with that cooling all evening long in that 14, hoping to limp it home in these final 5 laps.
You just never know if something's come loose in the ductwork, if maybe it's internal issue with the engine. You know, there's only so much you can diagnose during the race. So either way, we're going to have to see if you can somehow get it to the finish.
And the grill kind of looks pushed in a little bit or something.
Yeah, you know, you could just break the ductwork loose and the air goes in the grill, but it doesn't go through the radiator. So there are issues. You mentioned Joey Logano and the points he's going to save. I think one thing that's worth bringing up, it's not a lot of points, but Austin Dillon in the 32nd position, 7 laps down. I want to take a minute. And that team and the preparedness to get the belts back on that race car, to only do it in 7 laps, that seems silly. And he's at minus 28, so you say, oh, it's not going to matter. We don't know what the points is. With Talladega's next week, right? We can have a big wreck. People can give up points. He has gained at least 3. It could end up being 4 points by the end of the race with his crew's preparedness to repair that car. It seems small, but we never know where 4 points are going to end up.
The guy out front, Kurt Busch, Matt DiBenedetto, those 2 are going to restart 1-2. Marty.
Well, Rick, teams on the radio are screaming, saying, hey, NASCAR, pick up the debris quicker. Kurt Busch not saying that. He's very happy with where they are. And it was funny, a moment ago, Matt McCall, his crew chief right behind me, asked Kurt on the previous restart. He said, hey, do you have a plan? Kurt said, oh, I got a plan. Don't worry. He had a trick up his sleeve. It worked out great for Kurt on that restart. But, you know, he's got to do something different on this one, Kelly.
For Matt DiBenedetto, the team repeatedly tells him they have more to lose than you do, talking about all those playoff drivers that surround him right now. They had been most concerned, of course, about that one of Kurt Busch. Right now, though, they've got their eyes on the 11 of Denny Hamlin. They know he has speed. They're also hoping they'll be behind the 21 to help push him to victory lane.
What I'm going to find interesting here is what lane these guys choose, right?
I was going to ask you.
Which lane are you going to go to? Let's listen to Denny Hamlin talking about what he wants to do with his choose lane.
I think one car takes the bottom. If that's the case, do you think I should pin myself on the bottom?
I don't. That's my gut. But, you know, it's about tires and momentum and the cars are racing around and all that stuff.
I don't think the one takes the bottom because the one took the top last time and it worked. So I think Kurt goes back to the top. I think the 21 takes the bottom. He's got to. It's a race for him to win. He can't win it from the second row. So I think the 21 lines up on the inside, and then I believe the 88 might take that top, and then Denny's got to decide, does he want to be in the third row on the high side, or does he want to be on the inside of the second row?
It's a tough call. I think if you could be, you know, with those new tires, if you get in that outside lane, there's somewhere to go, right? You can get 3 wide on the outside of them.
Yeah.
If you get on the bottom and you get boxed in, it's just a tough call.
The bottom is not fun if you're second on back. Now, if you're the front guy and you get shoved out in the lead, it's amazing, but it's never really worked out all that well for anybody else.
Hey, do you guys remember what Alex Bowman said to his team earlier when that mistake was made?
Yeah.
I'll get it back.
He's going to try.
Well, he's in the 3rd position right now and has that opportunity to potentially win this race.
They should remind him of that. Hey, said you were going to get back. Here's your chance.
Remember when you messed up earlier?
Dave.
Ryan Blaney runs in 5th in the red and white number 12. He'll have to make that choice as well. And he's done so well here at Vegas. If he stays in 5th, that'd be the 3rd time he's finished in the top 5 here. And his average finish of 10th ranks 2nd only to Joey Logano at this racetrack. Feels like the car is just a little bit too tight on those old tires. We'll just see what he can get done in the closing laps.
Something else, guys, I think is going to be interesting is that we've seen how the push down the back straightaway has helped clear the front row. Well, will Denny Hamlin's new tires enable him to get a better run through 1 and 2 and be a better pusher down the back straightaway? Marty, what do you have on him?
Well, they've talked about this restart for Denny Hamlin, who has fresh left side tires, but you wonder if the cycle of those tires is going to play out here as they come to the choose situation right here. And they've told Denny, we've talked about it enough. It's up to you from here.
Hamlin to the top. Hamlin chose the top. Well, he's thinking, he's going to try to make it 3 wide. That's what's on his brain right now.
I like it. The top is offense.
Yes.
I just don't see offense from the bottom lane, except for the front row. Matt DiBenedetto, different opportunity.
Yeah.
Blaney to the bottom. He's going to go for that.
So if you're Denny Hamlin and the 88 gets a run, do you push the 88 through and try to sell it on the last lap?
Well, if you can make it 3 wide, that's what you try to do. You're trying to get on the outside of the 88, but if you can't do that, then yes, you have to push him.
And he will. He will push him right into the back of the car in front of him. It's going to be a wild one.
Well, you said that with some confidence, like you felt that push.
Nobody's got anything to, you know. Everybody wants to win this race, and everybody feels like that they're in the perfect position to do it. I want to see just how much Blaney might be able to help DiBenedetto here. On the last restart, the one car kind of backed up and had everybody sort of checking up and then goes. Has he, you know, are they wise to that trick this time? And can Blaney help that 21? Or will he go try to make it 3 wide and win the race himself?
And we focused on the front this whole time, but think about all of the cars in the back of this pack, the middle of this pack that are racing and they're in the playoffs. They've got to make something happen back there too.
It's overtime, presented by Credit One Bank. It'll be 2 laps, a sprint to the finish.
Look at Bowman laying back, trying to time it just right. Kurt with another great launch.
He's going to be able to pull down and clear this 21 before they can even get a push up to him.
In the outside lane with no organization with the 88 and the 11 losing spots.
Look at the push though. Oh, the 12 got separated. When the 88 got to the right rear of the 12, it separated him from the 21, so he no longer can push.
Here comes Denny with a big push. He's going to push this 88 all the way down the back straightaway. Oh. Bowman, why did Bowman not go to the inside there?
There was nowhere to go for Bowman, and now Denny Hamlin fighting for second to the inside of the 21.
They're side by side.
1 lap to go.
Side by side for second. Kurt's loving this.
Yeah, Kurt Busch needs him to stay side by side. That's what's going to make it work for him.
All right, now that high side, will they get organized down the back straightaway? The 88's going to have some momentum here. Who will he help? Or will he go 3 wide?
Here, don't overdrive it, wrap them.
How aggressive will they be through the final turns? DiBenedetto in second. He drifts up the track a bit. Kurt Busch, the 2004 Cup champion, is going to win in his hometown. Busch wins at Vegas. Kurt Busch.
Good job, man. Good job, man.
Started his career. Oh, look at his brother. The two celebrating together here at Las Vegas.
Hometown hero.
Oh my God, I'm a lady. I'm a lady.
Guys, think about the consequences of Kurt Busch winning this race. He came into this point, into this 12th. So that's a car down at the bottom, right, that is going to put a ton of pressure on more drivers trying to make this next round. The first surprise win in these playoffs right here.
Austin Dillon, a very tough night for that team. Chase Elliott ends up 22nd. Almirola 17th. Logano 14th. And the celebration starting for Kurt Busch. No fans in the grandstand, so it won't be the same for the Las Vegas native. But still being able to win at the racetrack where he grew up. Circumstances played out for Kurt Busch today. And he capitalized. We heard Mr. Jensen mention at the very beginning of the show, opportunities. A city of opportunities, and Kurt Busch just took advantage of that opportunity. He is on to the round of 8 now with this win.
He's ran a lot of races at this track. His average finish worse than 20th. Hasn't had a lot of great success here, man, when it counts. Here he is, moving on to the next round.
See the name of Robert Farmer on there, one of the cancer heroes of the Martin Truex Jr. Foundation, riding along with Kurt. He was actually pretty emotional when he talked about Robert Farmer's going to be on the side of the car with him, and he takes him to victory lane here. Look at this. Oh, soaking it all in. If only there was a crowd here to roar for him. He spelled out Las Vegas for us with the checkered flag.
Matt McCall is crew chief, running 13th before Matt McCall ran that pit strategy, running long, caught the yellow. Just a great call, a great car, and then his veteran driver. Track position is one thing, but he had battles galore, and he held them all off.
Jeff, you mentioned it. Coming in, Kurt Busch was at the bottom of the list of 12. Well, now after leaving Vegas, he is at the top of the list. And the name in yellow automatically advancing with the win to the round of 8. His younger brother now on the outside looking in. 9th, 9 points below that cut line. Marty.
Denny Hamlin winds up third, just looking at the scoreboard, shaking your head, Denny. Were you thinking the left side tires would be good enough to be able to get you the win tonight?
No, just same thing as Darlington. Untimely cautions. It's what's keeping us out of victory lane. We're obviously had a dominant car today, and proud of the whole FedEx team for giving me such a great car. It was by far the best car I've had at Las Vegas, and maybe in a long time, in a mile and a half. It was really, really good. Happy with it. This new tire here that we're going to run it a few more times this year. So really encouraged by the way we ran. Obviously very disappointed we didn't get a win, and You know, it's just that's been where the playoffs has gone. It's just like, you know, whoever just stays out the longest, you know, puts themselves in a great spot to win.
You mentioned the word encouraged there, Denny. I know coming in here, this was the race you were worried about. So do you leave feeling much better with a third-place finish?
Yeah, I mean, I feel good about it. I certainly had a great day. That was something that really happy about is just how we ran, how fast we were, and, you know, to restart 13th there with just a few laps, and then the top got shuffled, and we were able to make some ground on the bottom. You know, any one of the cautions don't happen. We're still in great shape, but just, you know, it took us like 7 laps to get a piece of debris off, and then we had that debris right on the fuel window. I don't know. It's just really unfortunate circumstances for our FedEx team where it's keeping us out of victory lane, but really happy with the way we're running.
How crazy were those restarts knowing that you're way in the back, but you've got fresher tires than everyone?
Yeah, it's tough to try to figure out where to be. Like, my car's fast on the bottom. I'm faster than everyone, but the train gets going up top where the draft gets going, so you just can't overcome it. So I was really happy with you know, the push that I got. You know, I don't know would I done a different move or not. I mean, we just drove to the bottom there and I got all the way beside the 21, but just nobody was on the bottom there to help us push, and that was all she wrote.
Still the best finish of the playoffs for Denny Hamlin. He winds up third.
And Denny Hamlin now 58 points above that cutoff line. But the guy who is secured into the round of 8 is in victory lane. Let's go to Kelly.
Kurt Busch grew up racing at the bull ring outside of the 1.5 mile track here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, dreaming of this moment. And now he has done something tonight he couldn't do in his 21 previous tries here at Las Vegas, and that is win here at his home track. We saw the emotion. And it is still very raw, very real. You've accomplished a lot, Bushy, but I have to imagine to win here on your home track in the playoffs, no less, has got to rank right near the top.
This is what kids dream of when they grow up racing. You dream of winning at your hometown track, and for 2 decades, it's kicked my butt. And tonight with this Monster Energy Chevy, I'm in awe. Like, I knew the race would come to us. We needed to get to nightfall, and one of those quirky Matt McCall pit sequences finally unfolded. We got lucky. You got to be lucky, and you have to be lucky in any race, but we did it tonight with teamwork and pulling through and just not giving up. But this is Vegas. I miss the fans. I miss them so much. Craig Q, the Star Nursery chain here in Las Vegas, helped me get my start. My dad, my mom, they were there every day at the track pushing, and now Will Brexton, my nephew, won last night. Those thoughts were going through my head because my hometown is special. This Vegas place is special. So thanks to Brendan Gong and South Point, everybody that makes this happen at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. I couldn't be happier.
You said you got to be lucky, but you also have to be good. How did you manage to hold off the 21 and then a surging 11 who had fresher tires there at the end?
Yeah, 11 had a ton of speed. I was wide open, and you just have to manipulate the draft. I pulled out some old drag racing skills on the restarts. I knew that was our strong suit. I knew that was the Ford's weak suit. We just put ourselves in position, and we held off. And so Chip Ganassi was up in the suite somewhere, and I could feel him breathing over my neck. I want to win, and we did it.
Everyone has been sort of dreading this round of the playoffs, given the 2 tracks that lay ahead, Talladega and the Roval. You came in at the bottom of the playoff standings. You're going to leave at the top of them. What does it mean to secure the win so early?
That's part of the system, and it's an incredible feeling to not have, like, it's sinking in. Like, no Talladega worries, no Roval worries, but we're still going there to get points. We're still going there to add up what we need to do to win this championship. So thanks to Chevrolet, thank you guys, Jim Campbell, everybody at the Ganassi shop. This Monster Energy Chevy was fast, and with Gear Wrench, Advent Health, we got a new group with Yorktel and Caregility. I just love everybody that's part of this team. So thank you, Monster. Strong color. Slow carb.
He's a winner here at Las Vegas and through to the round of 8.
Low carbs. Well, coming up next, it will be the NASCAR America post-race show with Krista, DJ, and Kyle. And what a night it was for Las Vegas native Kurt Busch. He talked about the drag racing, helping him out with the restart. Well, it worked. He got out front and never had to fight for that lead. His brother, though, letting him know, great job, man. You won at Las Vegas. A great burnout, A great win. Kurt Busch is on to the round of 8.